Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to Podium Esports coverage of the Replacements 100, live this afternoon from Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia. I am James Pike, originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and in real life, I'm the Director of Communications for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. Joining me in the booth this afternoon are Lincolnton, North Carolina's Jacob Sealman, staff writer for Speed Sport, and from Scottsdale, Arizona, David Shieldhouse, noted Twitch streamer and iRacer extraordinaire. Up in our production trailer this afternoon, we have iRacing's own Cisco Scaramouza from Mount Prospect, Illinois, the man responsible for the graphics that you see on iRacing's broadcast of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. The star-studded booth here, ready to bring you a star-studded race, and we're so glad and so proud and honored to be able to bring you all the action today on Twitch, and glad that you found us. Now, we recognize that there are a lot of new names and new faces here, and a lot of folks who are new to Twitch, new to iRacing, so we'll explain how everything works today. iRacing is the world's premier online racing simulation, one of the most complex PC programs in the world, which simulates racing, very true to real life, across all different types of cars and tracks. Today, we're using the NASCAR Cup Series cars at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What's happening here is that all of us, broadcasters, drivers, everyone alike, we're all connected to the same server from our homes, our rigs, wherever we might be, but all virtually connected into this one race. And even though it's all computer generated, the racing that you'll see today should, in most cases, resemble what you would see in real life, and it should just feel like any normal Sunday afternoon for most of us. So once again, glad to have you all along for the ride. Jacob, I'll turn to you first because not only do we have a fantastic Sunday afternoon race for you, we've got a fantastic star-studded grid. So many famous drivers and personalities from the real world across motorsports that are going to be taking part in today's action. And I genuinely can't remember the last time I've been this excited to broadcast an event.
I will agree with you, James. And first off, good afternoon to everybody tuning in to Podium Esports coverage of the Replacements 100 from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. And much like you, I'll echo certainly an honor to be a part of this broadcast. A big moment for all of us. And for this field this afternoon, star-studded, I feel like, is a bit of an understatement. It is an all-star cast of epic proportions getting ready to do battle for 100 laps, 154 miles here at the weathered quad oval this afternoon. High atop turns 3 and 4. I'll be keeping an eye on all the action as they exit the 5-degree banking of the back straightaway and head back into the 24-degree banks of turns 3 and 4, where we are going to see slipping and sliding all afternoon long. Track temp up around 120 degrees, 90 degrees Fahrenheit in sim as it sits, which means it is going to be hot, it is going to be slick, and there is going to be almost no grip to be found as we go throughout the day, and certainly looking forward to seeing exactly how it all breaks out as we go through the broadcast. And on the other end of the racetrack, monitoring the action in turns 1 and 2, we'll bring in the third member of our broadcast crew this afternoon from Scottsdale, Arizona, David Shieldhouse. David?
Thank you, Jacob. Pleasure to be here with everybody for this very special event, bringing real-life racing, sim racing together. This truly is a dream come true, where we get all the stars and cars from the NASCAR world. We've got drivers, we've got spotters, we've got PR people, and we have real-life iRacers as well, all coming together here from the Peach State to get together and do what we love most, to put racing on the air on this beautiful Sunday. And I am so proud to be a part of it here. We see cars circling the track in practice right now, trying to get a grip, literally trying to get a grip as they slip and slide around this 1.5-mile quad oval. We will see them coming out of turn 2. I'll have the best perspective of it as they get that rear end kicked out coming off of turn 2. That's where I expect to see some potential problems breaking out today. The preferred line is going to be around the bottom. That's where these guys are going to want to be, especially when the tires are new. But as the tires continue to wear, that grip goes away. We might see them sliding up the racetrack, having to adjust their line to find the optimal way to run the fastest laps. But that's just being single file. If you try and make that pass, you really got to adjust. And turn 2 could be a place where we see these cars find each other and make a little bit of contact. I'll be keeping an eye on it here from turns 1 and 2. And with that, we'll turn it back over to the man on the front stretch, James Pike.
As we watch the 88 and the 77 machines, the 88 you'll know pretty well, I think. Some fella named Dale Earnhardt Jr. racing with the 77 of Parker Kligerman, co-owner of Burton Kligerman Esports, one of the premier teams in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, who went to victory lane a few weeks ago at Auto Club Speedway, courtesy of their driver in the number 77, very similar to what Parker's running right now, Ashton Crowder. Now, a fun story about how we got this together. This all came together within the last 36 hours and change, as TJ Majors and Kevin Hamlin, two spotters in the NASCAR Cup Series, were able to jump on the opportunity quickly when NASCAR officially postponed the races this weekend at Atlanta Motor Speedway. TJ and Kevin got together and texted their wine circle of friends and said, hey, how about we go racing on Sunday like we normally would anyway? If we can't get together because of the coronavirus outbreak, then let's go racing in iRacing. So they managed to organize the driver group, reached out to us to broadcast this whole race, and here we are now on Sunday afternoon with plenty of folks on Twitch. We're happy to have you along for the ride as we take a look at so many of these fast drivers in practice, so many big names, especially at the top of the leaderboard in practice right now. What you're seeing is the tail end of the practice session, and then all of these drivers will individually qualify on their own within the server. There'll be 10 minutes of that before we go racing for 100 laps. And we are now joined in the booth here by Kevin Hamlin himself, spotter of the NASCAR Cup Series. And Kevin, we mentioned a little bit how this broadcast and this event came together, but just talk about what it was like organizing everything from your perspective, since you have some experience with organizing iRacing leagues regularly on the day-to-day.
Well, when we landed from Atlanta on Friday, I guess it was, William Byron and I were just talking and had the idea, and I texted TJ, and he said he was already working on something. So between him and I, just reaching out to some people, it kind of unfolded rather quickly.
Did you have any idea that what you were putting together was going to blow up as much as it has? Because it's been the talk of the NASCAR community, especially on Twitter over the weekend.
No. We've had a very, very positive response, so that's been very humbling. Pretty excited about it, a little nerve-wracking, but I never would have thought that we would have gotten the kind of response that we had. So really excited for it, and happy that Podium and iRacing jumped on board to help us, put it together, and everybody that helped put it together, so quickly. We basically put this thing together in about 12 hours. So hopefully it rolls off okay.
Kevin, just looking at the response you got from within the garage area, the drivers that are involved in this, I mean, what does this say about the industry at large wanting to give back and to be, in a set of tough circumstances, able to still give that entertainment to the fan base?
It's been great. I've had, TJ especially has had a lot of people reach out that I didn't even know were on the service. So I would say, half of the garage is on the iRacing service, and it just shows a testament of how useful this tool is for all of us, how much fun it is, how anybody can do it. So it's been good. I really wish we could have included everybody, but our lineup just filled up so quick.
Kevin, you've got plenty of experience with Atlanta Motor Speedway, been here more than a few times yourself. So far as the race goes, and especially when we consider the track conditions and consider that it is a hot one, 90 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 119 degrees Fahrenheit track temp right now in sim, what kind of racing do you think we'll expect today?
As crazy as it sounds, the track temperature has a lot to do with how the cars drive, and we set it for 90 degrees just to make it a little slick so we couldn't run flat out the whole time. Tire wear is going to be a big factor. By about lap 15, you're starting to lose both right side tires, and for some of us it gets a little tight. For some of us it gets a little free, so it really emulates a hot, slick day on an actual racetrack. So we're going to have to manage that and try to plan accordingly for how hard we run on restarts with fresh tires.
And Kevin, what would it mean to be able to come home with a victory in this race amongst the field that is so star-studded?
I'm just hoping to survive, to be honest. Some of these guys are really, really good, so I'm just kind of going to hang out and hopefully run 15th or so. If I could finish 10th, I will be really happy.
Kevin, thank you so much for your time up here in the booth this afternoon. We look forward to watching you on track, and we'll see you take the green flag in a matter of moments.
Great. Thanks, guys, and appreciate everybody for tuning in, and hope you all enjoy the race. Thanks.
Kevin Hamlin, NASCAR Cup Series spotter and one of the drivers in today's race. And I think we really actually should sit down and go ahead and start rattling through just a few of them, because there are some names you'll know, especially if we look at the top of the leaderboard. David Shieldhouse, fastest practice time right now, it's actually tied, shared between two drivers, a 29.438 for Parker Kligerman and William Byron. Incidentally, those two own two teams in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Kligerman, owner of Burton Kligerman Esports, and William Byron, owner of William Byron Esports. Anthony Pelican, Tyler Overstreet, and Bubba Wallace, your top five in practice as it stands. Some other drivers that you'll know: Ben Rhodes, Anthony Alfredo, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Alex Bowman, who won at Auto Club Speedway just a few weeks ago, Harrison Burton, who also won at Auto Club a few weeks ago, Taylor Gray, who got the victory in the late model stock portion of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour season opener at Southern National Motorsports Park at the beginning of this month, Garrett Smithley, who's got Cup Series experience, Justin Allgaier out of the Xfinity Series, Chase Briscoe out of the Xfinity Series, Justin Haley, who won the July race at Daytona in the Cup Series last year. The list goes on and on and on.
It certainly does. Reads like a veritable who's who of NASCAR across all series, and it's so cool to see. We're bringing in everybody, and it's not just drivers. Like I said, it's spotters as well, PR people, everyone who loves the sport of NASCAR, everyone who loves racing, but also has the love for sim racing like we all do as well. And it's so cool to have a platform, a central place where we can all get together and do that and bring these names together for entertainment value, and they love it just as much as we do. It's not them being put to task and being asked to do this. They wanted to do this. So we look at the timing sheet, like you said, Kligerman and Byron tied atop the scoring sheet right now, and I have to wonder if they're just trying to figure out what the best way is for a qualifying lap here, because we've seen throughout this week on iRacing, as the three official services or series have been here between A, B, and C class vehicles, especially in this A car, this Cup car. When you're out front, you have the biggest advantage. You got clean air, and that means so very much. I've heard it from drivers all week long, but especially since the news broke about this event, everyone that I have talked to, both in this event and outside of it, have said whoever wins the pole has a very good chance of driving off into the distance, and no one's going to be able to do anything with them. We'll see if that plays out that way today, but certainly starting up front is going to be very important.
You make mention, David, of A and B and C. It sounds like alphabet soup to those of you who might not be so well acquainted with iRacing, but that's what we're here to do, explain it to you all. So, iRacing has a ranking system and a safety rating system, and the long and short of that is that when you first sign up for iRacing, you work your way up through the ranks. You begin in the street stocks at your local hometown short tracks, USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida, and Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you work your way progressively through the tiers, up through some of the regional touring stock cars, the late models, the super late models, and then the trucks, and then the Xfinity Series cars, and then the Cup Series cars. So you have to earn your right to be here. Now, Jacob, naturally, everybody in here has a little bit of seat time with iRacing, so everybody here has what we call a Class A safety license, which means that they are all eligible to drive a NASCAR Cup Series car in iRacing's official events. And it's fun to see the crossover between the real-life talent and the in-sim talent, because in some cases it doesn't necessarily line up. So the drivers that you might think might be the favorites just based off of what they drive in real life might not necessarily be the drivers you need to watch today. And likewise, conversely, some of the drivers who you might not necessarily think would be threats probably are going to have a good shot to win today's race.
I've heard a lot of people say, especially with the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway here that we're dealing with, that it's going to come back to laps and track time, and those that have been able to put in the laps throughout the week or even earlier today to get ready for this, that track time and repetition can really help you out here. It's going to be fun to watch and see if the presumed favorites are in fact going to turn into the favorites when we get deeper into green flag runs and get deeper into this race, of course, as the day goes along. Parker Kligerman, William Byron certainly fast in practice, as you would expect. Can they maintain that through the course of the day, James? We'll just have to wait and see.
It'll be a question that we'll find out over the course of 100 laps. But speaking of drivers that might have a shot to win today's race, we're going to bring in one to the booth right now. He's currently trying to throw down a few quick laps as Anthony Alfredo of Richard Childress Racing now joins us in the booth. And Anthony, you actually have a lot more experience on the sim than most of the drivers in this race. So first and foremost, just talk about what you do in iRacing during your downtime.
That's a great question there. Sorry about that. I was leaving my Discord chat because I got a spotter for me tonight, which will help out a lot. But I'm looking forward to it. As you mentioned, I spent a lot of time my SimSeats driving simulator. Got a beautiful SimSeats paint scheme on this Chevy Z01 1LE, so I'm excited to race against these guys. And a lot of big names, and I do have a lot of time in the sim, but at the same time, guys like William Byron have a lot as well. I think he's going to be one of the ones to beat. Parker Kligerman and a few other guys also are going to be really competitive, and especially with it being a fixed setup race. It's a custom setup, but everyone's got the same thing. So I think it's going to make for great racing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And one thing I've noticed is there's a lot of speed to be had just in the draft because everyone's so close to wide open, if not wide open. So it's going to be tight racing. You're going to have to qualify up front and stay in clean air all day to have a shot at it at the end.
Now, some of these drivers in today's race own teams in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and some of these drivers just sort of get on iRacing for fun, but you're pretty heavily involved, Anthony, because you, unlike a lot of the drivers in this field, actually run your own league within iRacing, the Esports Racing League. So talk a little bit about the ERL and what you do on Monday and Wednesday nights.
That's a great question as well. I love to share kind of my experiences with iRacing, how it's helped me in my career. Obviously all the time on it's just added value to my training and preparing for races at the national level. You don't get to test a whole lot really at all, so it's very valuable in that sense, and that's why I wanted to kind of take it a step further and become more involved in the industry because I care a lot about it. So that's what led to me forming the ERL, the Esports Racing League. And you same people are kind enough to broadcast our races, and it's been really fun. It's been cool to see it growing, and I have big plans for it in the future to continue making it even larger than it is already. But a lot of the Coke Series drivers are competing in it, which is really cool to have some world champion drivers and contending drivers competing in it. I've actually been learning a lot from them, and I actually won the first race somehow, but it's been really cool, and it's meant a lot to me. It's kind of, I think the biggest thing is I actually feel like I'm helping provide some sort of virtual proving ground, so to speak, for these drivers who may not get the shot in a real race car or trying to get a shot in a real race car, and it's another series for them to compete in and make a name for themselves.
You got some famous drivers in the ERL, most notably the defending NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion Zach Novak and his teammate Jimmy Mullis, both of Richmond Raceway Esports, amongst others. Now, Anthony, ERL ran this very track and car setup on Wednesday night in similar conditions. Maybe not quite as hot, but still slick track, a lot of sunlight, similar driving dynamics, I think, to what we're going to see a little bit later. From your perspective, do you feel like what you saw in the ERL race on Wednesday night might help you to understand what you need to do to win this afternoon?
I think so. I think those cars were very similar in the sense that everyone was super close together speed-wise, because same situation there, is really close to running full throttle all the way around. So there's really not a way to pick up speed unless you're in the draft, and that's what's really hard as a leader. You're kind of a sitting duck unless you could break away, and the whole field kind of gets broken up like it did in the Esports Racing League event on Wednesday night. So if that happens, I think if you're up front, you'll be in a good place. If it's packed together and you're up front, you're definitely going to have to block and kind of maintain your position there. So the biggest thing, honestly, I think is going to be the strategy. You know, we did see pit stops in the Esports Racing League event, and I believe most of those guys split the race in half. Not 100% sure on what I'm going to do here tonight. I think my spotter is going to help me out a lot to kind of make the most of it and try to put ourselves up front if we're not, and if we are up front, try to maintain it.
Anthony, we got a chance to see you in real-life action a couple of weeks ago, but knowing that you've spent so much time in sim and do spend as much time in the sim as you can, do you rely on any of the experience you've had in real-life NASCAR racing recently, or is it more about what you've done in the sim of late to be fast here today?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I think more of the sim probably, Jacob. I think the biggest thing is understanding kind of the feel on iRacing, right? Some things are a little bit different, but fortunately I've got the SimSeats driving simulator in my house, or in my apartment I should say, and it's got really great pedals on it and a really great steering box or wheelbase I should call it, and that helps just me get extra feel, and I actually feel kind of like I do in the real life race car. I sit the same, I feel more immersed, and it helps me make the most out of what iRacing has to offer. So I think the laps I've made on here previously and all the races I've run help me feel a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, real life's helped me get a little bit of a better idea, and I think that's helped a lot of the Cup Series drivers running tonight, is the fact that they have real race car experience. I've never been in a Cup car, but here on iRacing I have, and see if it translates well.
Obviously, we've been talking since the start of the broadcast about how star-studded this field is. How big to you would a strong run or even contending for a win today mean?
That would be huge, honestly. I think, like I said, I feel pretty confident about it. I think we have a shot at it, and if we do, to beat guys like this would be no joke, and it's a lot of fun. I hope a lot of people are tuning in, because unfortunately there's no real-life racing, but this is the next best thing. iRacing's so cool, and watching the broadcast, they just look so legit, and to be able to provide a race for them today with some of the top names in the sport is going to be fun, and like I said before, to beat them would be incredible, and it'd be great for not only my iRacing resume, but my real-life resume.
I know we're about to start qualifying, so we'll let you get to it, Anthony. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Anthony
James Pike, I'm eager. Sorry, James. I think we're about to see exactly exactly what we came here for in about 10 minutes. I know they're going to qualify, grid up, and then, as they say, going to be game on.
I think I'm so excited here that I almost stepped on your toes. So everybody really, really, really amped up for this race as we get the chance to run along with Alex Bowman. Guess what he does. And now we'll turn to Justin Haley, who is going to go ahead and throw down a qualifying lap. There are varying strategies here that you can run, and as we get set to cover qualifying, turns out we've got some famous people in chat as well, so we'll extend a warm welcome from the Podium Esports booth to Fox Sports' Bob Backrus, and hope that you're enjoying our broadcast, Bob. Look forward to seeing you at the track when we get back to it. But, David, lots of different qualifying strategies that you can run here, because the weather can change ever so slightly over the course of these 10 minutes, and depending on when you go out, it can make the difference of a tenth, 2/10 of a second, which which can make the difference between whether or not you're starting on pole and starting maybe mid-pack and 20th.
It's all the little
Excellent
things,
point, James.
isn't it, James?
Excellent point, sorry. Sorry, I was so caught up in the moment. I was losing myself there. It's an excellent point. You definitely want to be able to hit an optimum lap around here as we watch Justin Haley at work. Technically, the second lap is your best chance to get it right. That first lap, you get the tires warmed up. You make sure the rear end's going to be settled under you when you get back to that throttle, and you can really push it hard here as we watch Haley work that second lap. So if you don't quite get lap 1 down correctly, your hope is going to be for lap 2. The tire wear is pretty high, so if you really abuse it on that first lap, you may not have enough left as Haley comes off to complete this lap. But again, starting position I think is going to be so paramount here today. The clean air on the fronts of these race cars as we switch over to look at Chase Briscoe now doing his qualifying lap. Much different line, right up against the wall to get that big run down this front straightaway. With the package that these cars have, you want to try and maximize your runs out of the corner to get as much speed down these straightaways. You don't have a lot of straightaway to work with, and you see Briscoe right back down to the bottom. Again, the short way around for qualifying is definitely the way to go.
And David, there are different ways that you can qualify here on iRacing depending on the type of track. With the short tracks, it's all about getting the brake temps up and just getting enough heat in them so that you can slow down when you need to. With the super speedways, it's about waiting until as late as you possibly can before getting on the throttle and beginning to start your qualifying run. What's the optimum strategy for qualifying at these mile-and-a-half intermediate tracks?
For me, from my experience, it's a little bit of a gamble because you don't know necessarily what the weather is going to do. Obviously, we've got beautiful, beautiful weather right now. Not really a cloud in the sky, the sun's shining, and the track is hot and slick. And so I think for me, if I'm out there, as we watch Chad Knaus, the 7-time crew chief, champion crew chief, working his lap, you want to go out there when you feel comfortable. You got 10 minutes. I'm not saying that if you go out at minute 3, it's going to be different than minute 8, but there could be a little bit of a difference. You just don't know until you hit the track. If you're a confident driver, if you know what you've got, and you really feel like you can go out and hit a lap at any point, you just go for it. If you're a little less confident in what you have, you're not entirely sure, then you may wait a little bit longer to see the times that the other drivers have put up, so you know what your sort of benchmark is, who you're eyeballing, who you think you're going to be around, so you see their time, and you know what you have to run to be close to that or even beat it.
Jacob, it's one of the unique parts of iRacing qualifying. Everybody gets the same 10-minute block to work with, and you have the opportunity to see the times with their drivers, but you can choose within that 10 minutes when you go out and actually set your qualifying laps.
Yeah, you do, and that's a big key as we see Kevin Hamlin end up in the wall right at the start-finish line on his lap. But what I've been watching the last minute or so, James Pike, is the fact, look at the top of the leaderboard right now. We have 3 drivers, Josh Williams, Steven Steffen, and Parker Kligerman, deadlocked at the top of the board on qualifying times to the 1,000th of a second. That to me tells you just how good this is going to be as we get William Byron on track for his 2 qualifying laps. And this is going to be, I think, representative of exactly how much speed this track has in it. We know it's been talked about so many times, Byron's experience on the sim, how he used it to get started, how he continues to use it as a training tool on a regular basis, and of course being involved with the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series as well. He's coming to the line this time to complete his first of 2 qualifying laps, and the getting up to speed there at a 30.6, so it'll be the second lap, James, where we get the representative time, and we'll likely see him jump up, I'm going to say, if not the top, somewhere right near the top when he gets back to the stripe.
Byron's case is an interesting one because I think he sort of set a blueprint for a lot of the drivers to come after him. He's not the only one that used iRacing to boost his career and get him into real-life stock car racing. Ty Majeski is another one, as Byron sets the top time with a 29.639, so provisional pole sitter in the number 24, to the surprise of very few people who have experience with the sim. But as I was saying, you got William Byron, Ty Majeski, so many of the real-life drivers use iRacing as a tool to prepare themselves for races on the weekends, get extra track time that they wouldn't be able to get in real life. And then you've also got drivers that are up and coming through the sim. Raja Karuth is a great example, someone who started on the sim and used immense amounts of hours in iRacing to propel himself into a real-life drive with Max Siegel and the NASCAR Drive for Diversity program for 2020. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you come from in the motorsports world. There's a place for you in iRacing and a way to just quite frankly have fun wheeling around some race cars, David.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Excellent point. You know, I was watching William Byron's seemingly provisional pole lap there, James, and he did something to remind me of what we saw at super speedways like Talladega and Daytona. He got up to speed up around the high side on that first lap and then pulled it to the bottom on that second lap to make it the fast way around. You used to not see that around tracks like Atlanta Motor Speedway, not until we got into this current package. So interesting to see that, but it was effective as he went about a half a tenth faster than Joshua Williams.
Just ever so slightly quicker than Joshua Williams. And if you want to get involved with iRacing and learn how to begin your iRacing career, don't forget to visit iRacing.com today. All sorts of information you need there to get started with your memberships, downloading tracks, downloading cars, getting yourself sorted on the world's premier motorsports simulation, which now is north of over 100,000 members and 80 tracks across the United States and the rest of the globe. Jacob Sealman is, if it's something that matters, if it's anything that's worth racing, chances are it's probably already in iRacing.
Very true. From NASCAR to the World of Outlaws to IMSA sports cars to Australian supercars and so much more, you can find it on iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. So very, very much looking forward to that and looking forward to the rest of this broadcast here coming up.
We'll take a quick commercial break and then come right back with the starting grid. You're watching coverage of the Replacements 100 from Atlanta Motor Speedway here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel.
We got big time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. Toast. You'll need to tow back to pit lane, press and hold your reset button, and we'll come and get you.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Brandon Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight. Loba is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side for the corner. This is for the win. It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett low. 4 wide at the stripe. For all he's worth here on this outside line. Neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron. Drag race to the line. It's so close to goal.
Welcome back to Podium Esports coverage of the Replacements 100 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's time to take you through today's starting grid and tell you where your favorite driver will be beginning this afternoon's race. William Byron sets the top qualifying time with a 29.639 second lap. He'll start P1 alongside Joshua Williams in the 12 car. Steven Steffen begins today's race from the 3rd position. 4th will be the 77 of Parker Kligerman, co-owner of Burton Kligerman Esports. TJ Majors, NASCAR Cup Series spotter, one of the organizers of today's race. We'll start from the 5th spot. 6th will be Anthony Alfredo, who we just talked to in the pre-race show. Kevin Iannarelli of iRacing will start from the 7th spot. 8th will be the 19 of Tyler Overstreet. Bubba Wallace and Justin Haley round out the top 10.
Rolling 11th this afternoon, Tyler Truex Taylor Gray starts 12th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. rolls off 13th alongside Garrett Smithley, with Coleman Presley filling the 15th spot. Representing the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Chase Briscoe is 16th with Brian Boris Cook in 17th. Jonathan Davis from the 18th spot. Ben Rhodes out of the NASCAR Truck Series 19th, and John Theodore completes the top 20.
Anthony Pelican will roll off from the 21st spot. John Guidon to his outside in 22nd. Harrison Burton will start in 23rd. Matt Noyce from 24th. Tyler Ankrum in 25th. Justin Allgaier starting back there in 26th. Alex Bowman in 27th, alongside with Tim Duggar in 28th. Mike Snyder rolling off from 29th. And Casey Heschel will round out the top 30.
Two former Belmont Army College Motorsports Management Program students in Snyder and Heschel in 29th and 30th. Jack and Al starts in 31st. 32nd is Kevin Hamlin, another one of the organizers for today's race. Gary Sexton starts from 33rd, and 34th will be Kyle Long, co-owner of Mode Motorsports. Ali Osmond starts 35th. Noah Gregson and Judd Danielson start 36th and 37th on today's grid. As we look at the track facts, this is Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia, a 1.54-mile, 2.48-kilometer circuit that opened in 1960. There's 24 degrees of banking in the corners, 5 degrees of banking on the straights. We go for 100 laps, 154 miles, 248 kilometers today in sim. It's about 3:45 p.m. And Jacob, we have a race on our hands.
Yes, we do, as the field works down the back straightaway, getting ready to roll towards turn number 3. It's hot, it is slick, the field is 2x2, and the action is about to be fast and furious. And one more time, for all of those watching here on Podium Esports, we are so glad that you could join us as the field works 37 strong into turn number 3, and for the start of the Replacements 100 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the voice of Podium Esports, James Pike.
Pace car will make that hard left turn onto pit road, and we will get set to go racing for 100 laps as William Byron will lead the field to the green flag. He steps on the gas, and we are underway with the Replacements 100 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Byron and Josh Williams go toe-to-toe as they come into turn 1 for the first time. They head into the realm of David Shieldhouse.
Single file all around the bottom. First car out of line is going to be Kevin Iarelli, about that 6th, 7th position. He has a spot in line that he can drop to as they work down the backstretch into turn 3 for the first time. Big move to the bottom from Josh Williams.
Williams looks to the inside, painted around that white line as he moves Byron up the racetrack. They're 3 wide behind Williams. He leads off 4, and he'll lead lap 1.
Williams was able to get underneath Byron, and then Parker Kligerman followed suit. Here comes TJ Majors, a whole host of cars to the inside of the 24 in 1 and 2.
Steven Steffen in that number 1 car up on the high side now will slide into that 4th position. Tyler Overstreet takes over the 5th position. William Byron dumped back to 6th, all the way down to the bottom line, looking to take that 5th spot back.
Action fast and furious. Byron to the bottom of the racetrack on the 19 of Tyler Overstreet. That's the battle for the 5 spot. They're painted around the white line. Anthony Alfredo behind them, looking for room to race.
Alfredo right there. Kevin Iarelli was able to get around Justin Haley that last time by. Bubba Wallace also coming. Yellow flag, though, out of the racetrack for the first time. Myatt Snyder, I believe, is one of the drivers that got involved as we take a look at the replay, and we'll take a moment to step back and see what happened as Snyder went around in turn 2, got some help from Justin Allgaier in the 7 as Snyder got loose off the quarter, and Allgaier didn't really have anywhere to go. Gets into Snyder, and Snyder goes down into the inside retaining wall for our first yellow flag of the afternoon.
Got a couple of things going on here, James. Jonathan Davis, I'm told, involved as well. As the caution did come out, he went around in the middle of 1 and 2. We had a lot of action down here at this end of the racetrack. A very strange set of circumstances. He got loose in the corner, overcorrected head first into the outside wall, collects John Theodore, also gets a piece of Anthony Bellican and Tyler Ankrum as well. Alex Bowman right in the mix there, gets front-end damage as well. So about 5 or 6 cars caught up in a separate incident from the one off of turn 2 in the middle of 1 and 2.
Everybody just trying to get settled in. It was before I think we really had our nerves settled, both here in the broadcast booth and down on the racetrack. So much side-by-side racing in that first 5-lap stint, Jacob. It didn't seem like anybody really had a rhythm built up yet. I wonder if that might be part of the reason why we're under yellow for the first time.
It's very possible, and certainly looking at turns 3 and 4 end of the racetrack, there was nobody settled in 3 and 4. A lot of crazy moves, a lot of diving early on. The move that Byron actually made on Tyler Overstreet coming to lap number 3 to take back that 5th position was one that I had my eyes on. He cut from the top all the way to the bottom of the racetrack to make that pass. It's been very hard hitting very early.
As we see drivers come down pit road, starting to see the pit strategy, and surprise, surprise, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the first one who comes down pit road for service from the 13th spot. Looked like a lot of drivers behind him came down for fuel and tires, so we'll have a split. Looks like the top 12 will be on old rubber, everybody else behind Junior, and the crowd that will come on pit road will be on 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. David Shieldhouse.
Not a bad strategy at this point. Tire wear, like we talked, is at such a high degree at this racetrack. Old worn-out surface, bumpy, really tough on the rubber here. So I think it's a good play for the guys who didn't get damage. Obviously, the guys caught up in that wreck need to come down and get some repairs affected to their vehicle. But for the guys who didn't get damage in that, guys like Chase Briscoe, come on down, get 4 fresh tires on that car, and you're going to have a little bit of a grip advantage here. He lost a little bit of track position, but again, if this thing goes green for a while, he's really going to be in a good spot. Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well, taking advantage of that opportunity. Even 5-lap fresher tires here, James, can be a huge advantage.
I have to believe that fresh rubber is going to play into it. If anyone had the chance to watch the Podium Esports Elite Series season finale last July at Atlanta, it was fresh tires that got Andrew Fayos the league title on a green-white checker restart, all because he came in about 5 laps before we got the final caution of that race. So it can make a huge difference, especially if you've got the field bunched up like this. A lot of names here who have established themselves early. Parker Kligerman, no surprise, between the work that he does with NBC and the work that he does with Burton Kligerman Esports. Some of you might have seen his reaction video to Ashton Crowder picking up the win in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series a few Tuesday nights ago. Was very excited while he was filming Proving Grounds, and had the entire film crew with him to celebrate the victory. William Byron also still with a lot of speed, got shuffled to the outside, but plenty of speed, I think, in that 24. And Anthony Alfredo, we had a feeling he'd be up near the front of this field. Jacob Sealman already within the top 10 after a really strong qualifying effort in the number 21.
Yes, Alfredo has hung strong. He started actually on that outside lane, not necessarily preferred on some of these restarts, but Alfredo settled in, rides 7th right now, or right ahead, really, for this restart of Justin Haley, who's going to be in the 9th position, as you referenced earlier, James. Winner at Daytona International Speedway last July in the NASCAR Cup Series, and a regular chase in the championship in the NASCAR Xfinity Series this year. Haley rides 9th, just ahead of NASCAR Cup Series star Bubba Wallace in the top 10 now as well. We've seen everybody that started in the top 10 rides there as it sits, so track position has been key, at least early on.
Lights are out on the iRacing pace car, so we'll get set for the restart, which will come on lap 8 of 100. Josh Williams will lead the field to green. Then it will be Parker Kligerman, EJ Majors, Steven Steffen, William Byron, Tyler Overstreet, Anthony Alfredo, Justin Haley, Kevin Anarelli, and Bubba Wallace, the top 10. David Shieldhouse, more crazy racing, you think, on this restart?
Well, I talked about the exit of Turn 2 possibly being the hot spot. I didn't think it would be the entry to Turn 1, but we've seen a lot of action at this end of the speedway already. Remember, in that very opening sequence, we saw the bumper get applied over in 3 and 4 in front of Jacob to get the lead for Josh Williams, not showing any signs of backing down from a good fight. Put the bumper to William Byron and kicked him back quite a few positions. So interesting to see the level of aggression. Josh Williams is here to race and win.
See what Williams can do. He'll be the control car on this restart on the inside lane. Parker Kligerman to his outside. We know that in real life, the outside has had some trouble getting going on restarts. We'll be coming to Atlanta Motor Speedway in recent years. Pavement is pretty old in the sim as well, so might have to watch and see if Kligerman slides up, or if he manages to beat Williams to get a great restart, maybe take the lead as they come back to the start-finish line. Williams waits pretty late in the box, but does get going. We're back green flag racing in the replacements 100. Williams got going. Kligerman did struggle, as I suspected. Up on the top side, TJ Majors, there's the big block there of William Byron, who's already trying to make his way back to the front.
Byron already up to the 3rd position. You see the power of that inside lane as he moves past Kligerman, who's now stuck up on the high side. Things will even up here down the back straightaway. TJ Majors with a big block to the inside, 3 cars strong.
All the way to the apron they were going as they hit number 3. Josh Williams still leads it. TJ Majors now 2nd, first side-by-side for 3rd. Byron going on Kligerman for position as they work off 4.
Kligerman got a huge run on the top side and plenty of momentum. He'll try and draw even with TJ Majors as they head into turn one. Byron trying to figure out which lane to go for.
Like the line there, Major slides up a little bit. He's out of shape, holds onto it. That'll stack up that lane, and here comes the outside led by Tyler Overstreet. Here comes Justin Haley as well, side by side down the back straightaway.
How did Kligerman hold on to that race car ahead of them? He's settled back in second. Top three run single file, side by side for fourth. Steven Steffen looking on Byron. They're 2 by 2 behind them.
Outside lane has speed as they come out at 4. Tyler Overstreet on the outside of Anthony Alfredo. All those cars were on the outside in 3 and 4, and the momentum's carried them up a few further spots in this race.
New driver in that third spot. William Byron takes it back from TJ Majors. Majors running that high side, gets a little bit of a run. Nowhere really to go with it at this point. Byron will make the block to hold on to third.
Byron to third. Byron tracking for second. He closes it to 2 car lengths, closes it to a car length and a half. Then Kligerman airs it back out off turn number 4. Top 3 under a blanket as they work back to complete lap 10.
Here comes Steven Steffen looking underneath TJ Majors, trying to grab another spot and jump up into the 4th position. Majors and Steffen side by side in 1 and 2.
Steffen working that bottom lane. Car slides up a little bit. Major slides a little bit more. It's going to be a dead heat down the back straightaway. These two fighting side by side for 4th.
Still side by side for 4th. Steffen almost got cut off into turn number 3. Major slicing down in front of him to hold the spot. Meanwhile, battle for the lead, heating up off 4.
They're starting to draw a little bit closer at the front of this field. Kligerman and Byron both catching Josh Williams in the 12 machine. Last time by second and third were faster by 1 2/10 of a second.
A little bit of the draft being magnified there as Byron rides right on the tire tracks of Parker Kligerman down the back straightaway, pushing him along. Now Byron will peek to the inside, looking for second.
Byron to the inside, Kligerman to the outside, side by side. They race for the 2 spot. Give it to William Byron as they work through 3 and 4. Now he'll go after the race leader, Josh Williams.
Byron made that look easy after recovering from that little shunt that sent him to the high line early in this race. He's got the number 12 in his crosshairs through 1 and 2.
Good fight there, single file all the way through. First side-by-side is going to be the number 21 of Anthony Alfredo dueling with Taylor Gray off of turn 2 as they fight for that 7th and 8th position.
Top 7 have really strung themselves out now.
A little bit of a slide, a little bit further back, but we say green flag racing as it is still Josh Williams in control. Byron, though, trying to get the gap at the stripe. It's a 29.9, 29.9. Byron faster by 3 1/1000ths of a second.
That was Taylor Gray that was out of shape. Great save by him. Byron now in the tire tracks of Josh Williams. Looking at those lap times, he is starting to pull up on him as expected. Byron, one of the fastest drivers here today. Shouldn't be too long before he's knocking on that back bumper.
Field finally starting to string out a little bit. Everybody goes single file among the top 5. 2 car lengths between Williams and Byron. 3 more back to Kligerman in third.
Best battle on the track actually is with Taylor Gray and Coleman Presley. That's for 12th and 13th at the moment. 2 wide and 3 wide, just a little bit further back of those two as Presley now looks to the high side and Gray drops down low.
Presley along that high side. I've seen some drivers make this work. Oh, contact! He's going to hold on to it, but Casey Heschel is not going to. Head on into the outside wall, gets clobbered by another driver. 2 more cars pile in off of turn 2. Tyler Ankrum, Tim Duggar. It's going to be Justin Allgaier into the inside wall, along with a few other race cars. Dale Earnhardt Jr. caught up in this as well. Big pile up again down at this end of the speedway. Second caution flag is going to fly.
And as we take a look at the replay, it was Heschel and Presley that came together, and Presley, who was racing alongside Taylor Gray for position, just came into contact with Heschel, and Heschel was the one who ended up getting loose off that contact on the right front of his Chevrolet Camaro. Harrison Burton then had nowhere to go, didn't have enough time to check out. He gets into Casey Heschel, and then it was on from there. Anthony Pelican involved in this. Tyler Truex just snuck by on the outside, but caught the wall, and as Heschel heads up into the outside retaining wall, Junior had absolutely nowhere to go, and Chase Briscoe just slipped through. Tyler Ankrum also involved in this, as was Justin Allgaier in the 7, as you said, David Shieldhouse and Jacob Sealman. A big-time mess early on in this race on lap 15.
Yeah, big-time mess that certainly has involved many of the heavy hitters, and I have to chuckle. They've done everything but wreck on the 3 and 4 end of the racetrack, so it's been fun to watch all around. However, most of the field right now heading for pit road on lap 16.
Everybody coming in for fresh tires and fuel. 5 laps you can take the gamble. 17 laps is a gamble very few of these drivers want to take as we try and see who comes out and leads the battle off of pit road. Josh Williams led them in. He's up for 2 tires and fuel. We'll go around to the left side and get 2 more tires to complete the 4-tire pit stop. We'll see if he wins the race off of pit road and maintains the race lead.
Are down and away. Looks like it's going to be all in the hands of Josh Williams. The crew gets the job done. Steven Steffen will lead him off in the second position. TJ Majors third. It was a dead heat between Kligerman and Overstreet, but I believe we'll give the fourth position to Kligerman, put Overstreet back to fifth. 4 tires and fuel, the call right now for all these drivers after the amount of laps that they ran, James. Makes sense to do that. You don't want to take any chances. No point in taking 2 tires for track position this early on.
David, you're the one with the most driving experience in here, even though all of us have spent a little bit of time racing on iRacing, but you know the difference between old tires and new tires here in Atlanta better than anyone else. So just tell us, why is it so important to have fresh rubber underneath your car, especially when the track's so hot?
When the track's as hot as it is today, you are struggling for grip regardless of what tires you have. But even with the freshest tires, that rear grip is going to be punished so much. You're on the throttle, you're turning, and the way this package is set up with the draft, the low horsepower, high downforce, it's hard to do much with these cars if you don't get the best run out of each corner, if you can't carry the most speed through each set of these corners as well. So having the most grip available with fresh tires helps you do exactly that. If you're on older tires, you can't stay committed to the throttle, you can't be in the steering as much as you want, and you're going to overall lose pace, and you're not going to be able to hold up. And the guys with the fresh rubber who can stay in the throttle, hit that line perfectly with full confidence, are going to blow your doors off. And we saw a little bit of that as we got to that mid-pack race, where some of the guys who pitted under the first caution had that fresh rubber, caught some of the guys who stayed out, and we saw the difference in pace overall there. That's the sort of situation you end up with. Slower cars, older tires, less grip, versus the guys with the better tires coming at a faster pace, slipping and sliding on a hot track like this. That's a recipe for disaster. We saw it break out there. But anytime you have the opportunity to take new tires and not give up a ton of track position, I think that's what all these drivers are going to be doing.
Of course, we've got some famous drivers in this race, but also some people from the NASCAR industry as well. Jacob Sealman, you've worked with so many of these drivers in this race in some capacity, and so many different people here. In particular, the number 27 machine of Kevin Iannarelli, who is iRacing's track builder. The people and the folks behind the actual creation of these tracks within the sim, Kevin leads that team up. So pretty cool to see the driver who built Atlanta and so many of these other tracks in the sim and taking part in an event like this today, Jacob.
Very cool to see. Kevin certainly doing a nice job right now, repping for the iRacing home team, running position number 7. You've got Taylor Gray, who won a recent Cars Tour late model event, sitting P11 right now. Tyler Truex, in a part of the Truex family, but certainly maybe lesser known, sitting back in 12th position right now, runs modifieds up in New England. And then Kyle Long of Mode Motorsports in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and former player in the NFL. Kyle doing a nice job. Started last in this, or basically last in this field. 34th, has worked his way up to the 18th position right now. Doing a heck of a job back there.
Lights are off on the pace car. Another name I think is worth mentioning, Garrett Smithley. Started in 14th, already up to 6th. He's got the Hard Charger Award amongst the drivers towards the front end of this field. We'll see if Garrett can continue his charge up to the front. We go green flag racing, this time on lap 20 of 100. Going to be a fifth of the way through this race when they come back next time by. Josh Williams will lead them to the green once again. He's on the gas pedal as he steps away from Steven Steffen, and TJ Majors will go and try and get underneath the one, but it was really only Williams who got the best restart, so Steffen will slide light in front of the 22, and Majors and Kligerman will go side by side for third.
Top 2 pull away side by side. TJ Majors, Parker Kligerman one more time. Majors surges ahead on that bottom side off of 2, but Kligerman's going to have a little bit of the draft down the back straightaway. Dead heat into turn 3.
2 wide, almost 3 wide back in the pack around the William Byron machine. That's a battle for 7th, 8th, 9th. Byron is back there with Bubba Wallace, the 24 and the 23, trying to work it out off 4.
Bubba Wallace trying to figure out his place in this, just there, right behind William Byron and Anthony Alfredo, who are going after it for 7th and 8th. Alfredo to the inside, Byron to the outside with a momentum off of turn 2.
Byron likes that high side. Alfredo gets really close to that left rear quarter panel. No contact made. Byron's going to clear himself for the spot right now, get back down in line, and Byron will continue his march to the front as we have a new player up in that second position, Parker Kligerman.
Kligerman is able to clear Steven Steffen in the one car, so Kligerman now with his sights on Josh Williams. TJ Majors trying to follow Kligerman on the inside and does, so Majors to third and Steffen back to fourth.
Positions changing around fast and furious here on this restart. Got to get everything you can now. The top 4, top 5 will pull away single file. Everyone in a good formation right now. No challenges.
Into turn 3 they go, straightening it out. Top 4 run single file. Parker Kligerman working his way as caution flag is out back, I believe, in 1 and 2, David.
Yes, it was. We had a couple of cars get out of shape. Oh, this was an ugly situation. It was Gary Sexton in the 13. Caught the inside grass and that second dogleg on the front straightaway, setting up for turn 1. Out of shape, up across the banking, hits the outside wall. Luckily, nobody else involved here, as it looks like everyone's going to escape. And Gary Sexton with a little bit of a moment there. Ben Rhodes as well caught a piece of that late, it looks like. So 2 cars with some trouble there. We take a look at what happened to Ben Rhodes as well, trying to find that. But again, just a little mistake from Gary Sexton clipping that grass, and that got the car all out of shape.
Ben Rhodes was around over by turns 3 and 4, just in the entrance of turn 3. It was a separate incident from Gary Sexton's incident over in 1 and 2, and he was diving to avoid one car that was sideways, and that car sideways in the middle was the 33 of Kevin Hamlin, who was sliding, and I think just clicks the 99 of Ben Rhodes as Rhodes came around on the outside, and Rhodes got crossed up trying to avoid it and ended up getting hit by Chad Canals on the apron in turn 3 before coming to a rest on the apron and getting it back right in the right direction and underway. But Rhodes now with damage on that 99 and probably will pay a visit to pit road here in the near future.
Not the only one that had trouble. We had another incident, a third one involving Justin Allgaier, Chase Briscoe, and I believe Kevin Hamlin, but Justin Allgaier was flying through the air as he was already off pace with a damaged vehicle up along the high side through 1 and 2, grazed the wall, got all out of shape, comes back across the racetrack in his number 7 machine, gets hit by Chase Briscoe, gets hit by Kevin Hamlin, and goes skyward. Unbelievable scene there. That's 3 more vehicles with a lot of damage.
Member of the Podium Esports Space Administration, as we like to say, Jacob Sealman, but a lot of different accidents there. It was almost like the hat game that you see on the baseball video boards, where you had 3 incidents perhaps, but you weren't necessarily sure which one actually brought the yellow out.
No, that was a case where everybody started going every which direction, and before we all knew it, finally somebody had to throw the yellow flag before it got even uglier than it already was. And for Justin Allgaier, that may likely be, I would say, if it's not race-ending damage, it probably should be at this point. A wild ride for that 7 car to put us back under caution for the 2nd time.
The yellow flag out here at Atlanta once again. And while we have a moment, we'll tell you about all the things you can expect here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel and across the world of iRacing within the next week. It starts off with the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, regularly scheduled event from Homestead Miami Speedway, Tuesday night, March 17th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Start for that as Evan Pasoko, Tim Terry, and Randy Cheneth of the iRacing team will bring you action, the premier NASCAR competition in iRacing, and that'll be on iRacing's Twitch channel, their Facebook page, and the iRacing Esports Network on YouTube. Then Wednesday, our double header here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel. It's Anthony Alfredo's Esports Racing League Premier Series, also from Homestead, Miami at 7:40 p.m. Eastern, before the second race of the Cars Esports Tour will come to you from Richmond Raceway at 9 p.m. Eastern, and the winner of the late model stock races and super late model races in that event will win free tickets to the spring race weekend of the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway in real life. So if you want to sign up for that, more information available on www.podiumesports.com. Then our friend Ryan Vargas is setting up a race that we'll have more information on in the coming days, but you'll find that at 7:30 p.m. Eastern here on the Podium Esports Switch channel on Thursday night, before we're back on the iRacing Esports Network on YouTube Friday night, March 19th at 9:15 p.m. Eastern for the 3rd round of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series from Virginia International Raceway. For more information on Podium Esports, you can head to our website, www.podiumesports.com, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to keep up with everything going on in the Podium Esports universe. Restart will come here next time by. It'll be lap 27 of 100. Josh Williams still your race leader, then Parker Kligerman, TJ Majors, Steven Steffen, William Byron, Tyler Overstreet, Garrett Smithley, Anthony Alfredo, Bubba Wallace, and Kevin Iannarelli, your top 10. David Shieldhouse.
Wild action here as we pass the quarter-way mark in this race. We've seen the bottom side work from some guys, the top side work from others. I think you're taking a big risk when you make that move to the outside, considering how loose this setup is, especially on the early portion of the run. You're really putting a lot of faith and trust in that guy on the bottom lane to keep his car under control, not push up. If that rear end steps out, hopefully he can make a big save, but that's what makes it so exciting.
Waiting for the pace car. One of the most anxious moments, I think, as a driver, that moment right before you get the green flag racing, is you're just holding at 70 miles an hour, or 65 in this case, as these cars go 2 by 2 by 2, and Josh Williams has control of this field. Once again, it gets going, and it's still the outside lane that has trouble. Clearman doesn't get going. Here comes William Byron to the inside, back at about 5th. TJ Majors and Tyler Overstreet will try and slip underneath Clearman as they go into 1 and 2 and run down Josh Williams to get the race lead away.
New player up inside the top 10, Garrett Smithley in the number 51. Give a call to him, currently holding down that 7th position as Williams leads the train down the back straightaway side by side for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Into turn number 3, side by side from 3rd on back. Caution flag waving again, though. Trouble behind them.
This time again off of turn 2. Another one off of turn 2. It looks like it's going to be John Guidon in the number 14. Trying to get up to speed, comes up the racetrack. Oh my gosh, makes contact with Chad Knaus as if Chad hasn't had enough problems today. Those two cars come together off the exit of 2. Guidon comes back across the track, gets into Tim Duggar. Alex Bowman grabs a piece of that as well off the back of the 31. So another 4 or 5 cars here, James Pike, with damage on these restarts. These are very tough times. I think, a few more. Ben Rhodes, Jonathan Davis is well caught up, along with Matt Noyce. So these cautions, James, are coming out, and guys are having a lot of trouble getting slowed down.
I think the interesting thing was that towards the end of this, there was contact a little bit ahead of Knaus in the racetrack that created a chain reaction. It was with Jonathan Davis, who got into Tim Duggar and then collected Ben Rhodes in the 99, who then backed into John Guidon. And that sent everybody in the back of this pack flying, as the 87 of Matt Noyce, like you said, had absolutely nowhere to go. So a lot of knock-on effects within this yellow flag.
Just the compounding effect of a slick track, guys trying to get to the brakes, not really sure where these cars are going to go, as it looks like the takers on pit road this time by are going to be most, if not everybody, involved in that caution period. More damage to fix. We talked about Chad Knaus, the troubles he's had here today, not necessarily of his own making, just wrong place, wrong time. Chase Briscoe, somebody that we saw up inside the top 10 earlier today. A lot of damage to the front end of his number 98 as well. Tough breaks for these guys. We've seen some good racing and we've seen some crashes, and again, I think that speaks to the varying degrees of skill within this field. Some of the guys that are a little more comfortable with the service, running up front, not necessarily having these issues, but guys who don't spend a lot of time on the service, slipping and sliding and learning the hard way, as many of us have done as we've tried to wrangle these cars here on the iRacing service. It's a good way to learn, but sometimes can be a painful way to learn as well.
One name that we're seeing right now still hanging up in the top 5 and qualified very, very well earlier today, a name that many might not be familiar with, is that one car of Steven Steffen. Sits 5th, qualified 3rd, but a travel liaison for Junior Motorsports in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, taking it to some of the very much heavy hitters in this field. Josh Williams, TJ Majors, Parker Kligerman, Tyler Overstreet, and then, there's Steven Steffen. So he sits very nicely in 5th right now. We mentioned Kevin Iannarelli earlier. He's back to 11th right now, and looking a little bit further down the list to another driver who has slowly started to jump up, and I really don't believe we've called his name much yet today. Myatt Snyder, representing the NASCAR Xfinity Series, has jumped up inside the top 20 after starting 29th. He sits 18th.
Snyder sits in 18th. Coleman Presley, who's got so many connections in this field, the son of former NASCAR Cup Series driver Robert Presley, currently running in the 12th position. As we see so many of these big names here, it is an incredibly starts the fiddle. Anthony Pelican, who's got a lot of experience in the sim, currently running in the 16th position on track. And AC Heschel as well. We mentioned him a little bit. Part of Noah Gragson's PR team for Junior Motorsports. Not had the brightest of starts and been caught up in a few incidents here, but currently running in the 20th spot.
I got to imagine a lot of these drivers are going to have something to talk about and laugh about after this event is over when they do get together for other events. This is something I think that's going to be a highlight during this downtime in the racing season for a lot of these guys to talk about. Yeah, you remember we got together for that race and maybe bash on each other a little bit or give some praise to one another. Remember, these are ultra competitive guys. Whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's golf, softball, basketball, sim racing, doesn't really matter. They all want to beat each other, and this is just another opportunity for them to do exactly that. So I know whoever comes out of this with the win is going to have some bragging rights, but anyone who may have found a little trouble around Atlanta Motor Speedway today might catch a little bit extra flack from the rest of their friends.
It's like we said at the very top of the broadcast, David. Everything that you're seeing on screen might be computer generated, but that doesn't change the fact that the racing is still the racing, and especially with as complex as the physics engine is in iRacing, everything in sim does perform very true to real life. That's part of the reason why iRacing is such a useful training tool for so many drivers throughout all of NASCAR and all different disciplines of motorsports. So no surprise that the emotions and the heated rivalries that we see in real life would spill over into today's race, Jacob Sealman.
No surprise at all as the field gets set to work back into turn number 3, doubled up as we gear up for another restart here in the first half of the replacements 100. Josh Williams leads over TJ Majors, Parker Kligerman, Tyler Overstreet, Steven Steffen, William Byron, Garrett Smithley, Anthony Alfredo, Bubba Wallace, Taylor Gray make up the first 5 rows as they work to turn 4 and head back towards the green flag.
Race car will once again make that hard left onto pit road. Josh Williams has had good luck on the inside, and every single restart he's controlled in the replacements 100 so far, and that doesn't change now. Gets a great jump on TJ Majors, and now here comes Parker Kligerman to the inside to take away the second position.
I bet you Parker Kligerman's hoping for a long green flag run. I think he's got a faster car over the course of the long run than Josh Williams, but Williams gets such a great start controlling it himself. He's able to break away off of turn 2, but look at the run from Parker Kligerman. He might be challenged by the time they get down to 3.
Field quickly settles out single file among the top 5 side by side. Behind them, William Byron to the inside of Garrett Smithley. That's the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th as Parker Kligerman in the tracks of Josh Williams.
Smithley high, wide, and handsome, looking to the outside, trying to get around William Byron and Steven Steffen in that one car as they go into 1.
Tough sledding on that outside by himself, but Gary Smithley is making it look good. Holding Steven Steffen at bay on the bottom side. What does William Byron do? Does he force the issue with a 3-wide move? No, he's patient for the time being as they stay side by side.
Side by side again into turn number 3. The battle for 5th. Smithley on the outside, the one of Steffen on the bottom. They're still side by side off 4.
Absolutely nothing doing as they fan out. Coming out of turn 4 behind them, Anthony Alfredo and Kevin Iannarelli racing side by side for 9th and 10th. Meanwhile, Parker Kligerman catching Josh Williams for the race lead.
That lead starting to decrease for Josh Williams as the power of William Byron starting to come to the forefront, or Parker Kligerman rather coming to the forefront. Byron making that move to the inside for that 5th position on Steven Steffen. Action again heating up all around the racetrack.
Byron in turns 3 and 4, side by side there, side by side behind them. Garrett Smithley going to work on Bubba Wallace.
Smithley and Wallace, and then Byron clears Steffen. She'll move Byron up to 5th as they complete lap 34.
Wallace now to the high side in that number 23, that gray machine, a good-looking race car there, poking at that right rear quarter panel of Steven Steffen off of turn 2. Gets up alongside that wall. Good run down the back straightaways. They're side by side.
Bubba Wallace with the momentum down into turn 3, but Steffen not giving up that white line. They remain side by side as William Byron races ahead of them. The battle for 6th off 4.
They nearly touched, did Wallace and Steffen coming out of turn 4, but they kept it off one another, so they stay absolutely deadlocked and tied right to each other entering turn 1.
Battle for 6th and 7th, the best one on the racetrack right now. Wallace surges ahead by about a half a car as they exit turn 2. Steffen will catch back up and hang on that quarter panel as Byron makes a move now to the inside, taking that 4th position away from Tyler Overstreet as they enter 3.
Byron makes it look easy in turn number 3. He goes to 4th, knock the 19 of Overstreet back to 5th. Off turn 4, Byron on the march.
Byron continuing to climb up in the field. Next up is TJ Majors in the 22. Meanwhile, still nothing doing between Wallace and the 1 car. And now Garrett Smithley drawing back into the fight. And that's brought in Kevin Iannarelli and Anthony Alfredo into the mix too.
Bubba Wallace had to get out of the gas there. Close moments for him. He keeps it out of the wall, but he's going to lose a few positions in the process.
Still side by side into turn number 3. Iannarelli is there and takes the spot. Next up, Anthony Alfredo going to work on Bubba Wallace. That's the battle back at the back half of the top 10.
Wallace with the momentum on the high side out of turn 4 will clear Alfredo and now try and get back to the right rear quarter panel of Kevin Iannarelli.
New player in third, William Byron continues to move to the front, gets past TJ Majors as they enter turn one. With a little hand out the window saying thanks to Majors. Majors will push him down the backstretch. Byron up to third.
1 second between the top two in this battle for third. Majors trying to get it back, but William Byron drives away by 2 car lengths. Meanwhile, Steven Steffen going to work on Overstreet for fifth.
Steffen working on Overstreet and Kligerman catching Williams. It's down to 1/10 of a second between the 77 and the 12 for the race lead.
Good fight here as that Kligerman machine continues to come to life. I think he's just managing his equipment, but he's doing it well. Keeps getting that great run. He gets out of 2 so well. Coming to you, Jacob Sealman. That gap shrinking continuously.
Yes, it is. It's 2 car lengths into turn number 3, maybe less than that by the time they get off 4. Kligerman trying to track him down. It's 0.2 of a second as they work back to the line.
Really good run for Williams out of the corner that last time by. He'll gap for Kligerman just a little bit. He was faster by 0.2 of a second that last lap.
That's the tail of this racetrack. At this end of the speedway, Kligerman is better. At the other end, it's Williams who's a little bit better, and in the end, it just washes out as he holds that 0.3 of a second lead for Kligerman.
Behind them, though, it's not over. The 22 of TJ Majors trying to run back down the 24 of Byron. They're separated by a car length. It's a car length back to the 19 of Tyler Overstreet.
Tyler Overstreet hanging in front of Steven Steffen, and then a little bit better action further on back. Anthony Alfredo now under fire from the 59 of Coleman Presley in his Ford Mustang entering turn 1.
At right around that 10th position, Presley in that number 59, riding right in the tire tracks of Anthony Alfredo, but we've seen time after time Coleman Presley, as the laps go on, that car comes to life as well.
Picking up a battle working towards us in turn number 3 for 12th. Harrison Burton had a look in the 20 on the 59 of Coleman, or the 69 rather, of Tyler Truex. Truex now taking the 13th position as Harrison Burton slid really wide.
A whole host of cars behind them. Taylor Gray, Brian Borash, Cook as Taylor Gray now sliding back a little bit. Gary Sexton, the lap car, also there as Anthony Pelican is in the mix.
Oh, we got a car stuck in the middle of the turn 1 and 2. Cars scattered to get around him. That's the 77 of Parker Kligerman, your second place driver. What in the world happened here is we'll take a look at the replay. Down into turn 1, the car just hooks it dead right. It just goes straight into the corner, smacks the outside retaining barrier, and your second place car, and possibly a contender for the win here today, takes a lot of right front damage, locks it down in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Everyone scrambles to get around him. That was the 17 of Taylor Gray, who barely made it around in there, James Pike, as we go under caution for another time. But Parker Kligerman might be done for this race.
But the way that Kligerman went straight up into the outside retaining, well, it makes me wonder if there may have been an issue with his own computer. Sometimes we see issues with the PCs, issues with the wheels, issues with the monitors, and usually when you all of a sudden have an incident like that where it just seems like the car loses control, more often than not, it ends up being an issue, as we see what happened from the perspective of Taylor Gray in the 17.
Great evasive maneuver there from Taylor Gray. Caught a piece of the wall, and it is confirmed by the driver himself, Parker Kligerman, that he did have an equipment malfunction that caused what happened to him there going straight into the corner. It was eerily reminiscent of a right front tire going down, but for Parker Kligerman in this case, as everyone heads to pit road, a equipment malfunction, something unique to sim racing, but befell him there. Really, really unfortunate.
Really, really tough stuff, as the incident is also going to bring Dale Earnhardt Jr. back on the lead lap. Has had a bit of a tough start to this race, but Jacob Sealman, so many drivers here coming in for tires. Once again, it's about that time. 13, 14, 15 laps into run. Nobody wants to chance it.
No. Nobody does want to chance it, and that's a big deal here because we know that even 4, 5, 6 laps on tires under green, James, is so critical to long-run speed and really being able to work yourself ahead of guys who do not have tires. So this is going to be a critical pit stop as we approach the halfway point of this race.
David Shieldhouse, it's time to introduce so many of our new audience to a time-honored Podium Esports edition. So, David, if you would please do us the honors.
It would be a pleasure to do so, James Pike. It is time to cue the Chuck.
As we bring out our friend Chuck the Duck, that those of you who have watched Podium broadcasts in the past will recognize, he's the mascot of our trivia questions that we ask on a broadcast. And today's trivia question is all about Atlanta Motor Speedway and a little bit of history here down in Georgia. What we want to know, make sure you punch it in chat and let us know, who is the driver that holds the record for the closest margin of victory at a NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It was a great finish. I remember watching it live that day, and certainly one for the ages that you could replay on social media over and over and over and over again. So tell us who was responsible for that in chat, and we'll tell you the answer to the Chuck the Duck trivia question a little bit later in today's broadcast. Jacob Sealman, I turn to you now just because I feel like we still haven't touched on everybody in this race, and I think there are definitely a few more names that are worth mentioning, and I'm going to turn my attention to Brian Boris Cook in the 63 machine. Brian Boris Cook. 1-3 name, but more importantly, he is the head of communications over at Joe Gibbs Racing, so anything with regards to the press releases that you see from JGR, anything that involves their drivers, usually Boris is somehow involved some way.
Indeed, and the way I've heard it described for many years, James, is the jack of all trades at Joe Gibbs Racing and master of a select few for Brian Boris Cook, but certainly one who is very well known and very well liked all throughout the NASCAR garage area. I think I'd be hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't know him, if not by name, certainly by face and by reputation. Great to see him in this field as we roll through, and one of those names that, like you mentioned, maybe people don't recognize the name at first glance, but certainly has played a big part among the industry.
A tremendous part amongst the industry. Chances are, whether or not you realize it, you've seen some of Boris's work at some point over at JGR within the past days, weeks, months, who knows. He's all over the place at Joe Gibbs Racing. But the restart is coming, about to hit the halfway point of today's race. Lap 47 when they take the green flag. It will be Josh Williams still in control of the restart. Then William Byron, TJ Majors, Steven Steffen, Garrett Smithley, Tyler Overstreet, Kevin Iannarelli, Anthony Alfredo, Coleman Presley, and Justin Haley, your top 10.
Field working into turn number 3 now, and this front row is going to be interesting because now we're setting it up to just about how we started this race. Only in reverse. They started Byron inside, Williams outside. Now it's Williams the control car with Byron to the outside as they work into turn 4 for a restart.
And can anyone get a restart to match what Josh Williams has been getting on the inside just about all race long? Pace car pulls off. Williams goes again. Byron got a decent restart, so he'll be alongside TJ Majors, at least heading into the corner. And then Steffen and Garrett Smithley with a huge jump as Iannarelli slides back.
New player inside the top 5. It's going to be Garrett Smithley in that 4th position, watching TJ Majors and William Byron duel through turns 1 and 2. Majors goes ahead with the push from behind down the back straightaway.
Big wreck in the back that might wing out the caution flag. We'll wait to see if it comes, but Kevin Iannarelli was the first to go around, and Iannarelli brings out the yellow. He made contact with someone. I think someone might have bumped into him. We'll take a look at the replay and see what happened, but it was the 11 of Justin Haley that got loose. He just clipped Iannarelli coming out of turn 2. They were both trying to run up to that high groove where the momentum is coming out of the corner. They wanted the same real estate, and then it was Haley who also got into Bubba Wallace, who got into Iannarelli, and then it was on from there. Taylor Gray had nowhere to go. Gary Sexton slides down to the inside and runs into Taylor Gray, who has nothing to do. A few more cars involved. Justin Haley and Casey Heschel swept up in this. Harrison Burton doing a nice job to clear all this on the outside as we take a look at Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s on board to show you what happened from the driver's perspective.
I'll tell you, just taking a look at this, and you'll see what Dale Jr. saw. This really starts, like you said, with Kevin Iannarelli going through 1 and 2. Comes up off the bottom a little bit more than Haley was allowing or expecting him to do. And that right rear to left front contact got the 11 machine of Justin Haley all out of sorts. And they just stack it up from there. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. just sneaking through in really the best way possible, getting on the binder, slowing the vehicle down, and not trying to superhero his way through that thing. So nice job by Junior to avoid that mess. But that's another big one. It's going to create a lot of damage on a lot of race cars and possibly take a few more out of this thing. We've seen a lot of action in 1 and 2, probably more than maybe even I anticipated. But again, fresh tires, cold tires on a restart, and for Justin Haley, just nowhere to go.
Superheroing through incidents. David Shieldhouse. Now, maybe I'm a bit mistaken, but your Twitch feed was pretty entertaining on the NASCAR iRacing Road to Pro broadcast last Tuesday night. You may or may not have superheroed your way through an incident at the end of your race yourself. And tell us what it's like when you're sitting there in a pack, you have all this happening in front of you, and you have no idea what the right move to make is.
I appreciate you bringing that up. That was a heart-stopping moment for sure, and everybody who was on the Twitch stream at that point saw it, and I think a lot of people have seen it on Twitter since then. But, you know, we're sitting in the back of the pack at Daytona, and I said out loud as we're working halfway down the back straightaway, boy, I hope we just need a big wreck and maybe we can make up a few positions, and certainly that's what happened. Instinct takes over at that point. You don't have a lot of time to react or make a choice in where you're going to go. I knew it was going to be in my best interest to pull it down onto the apron and then just see how everything played out, and through circumstances mostly out of my control, a pathway opened up. I screamed Moses, and we came home in a 5th place position. But, you know, those sort of, moments in sim racing, it's a lot of luck, but a little bit of positioning as well when you have to read where these cars are going to go. With enough experience, you can do exactly that. Slowing down always helps, but if you don't have the ability to slow down, at least put your car in a position where you think you're going to miss it the best. And if the C's part, you work your way through, you feel like a superhero. And if they close up and you wreck, well, 9 times out of 10, that's how it goes, and you move on.
Very entertaining. If you haven't had the chance to check that on David's Twitch. Shieldhouse D, if you want to jump over after our race and see what happens. But Jacob Sealman, a lot of fun here, and I think a lot of interesting moments that you get in sim racing, which differ a little bit from what you see in real life, but at the same time create sort of unique little treasures like David's incident last Tuesday night that sort of carry on in the memory for those of us involved in the community on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, we've had some treasures over the course of the years on iRacing, both as far as on-track moments and perhaps some little treasures that have happened visually and verbally as well. One comes to mind. As soon as you said the word little treasures, I thought to myself, oh, Malik Ray's got a few of those. If you know Malik of NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series lore, you know exactly what we're referring to. But I'm looking at this grid going, heck, Junior got back on the lead lap a couple cautions ago, and at the rate we're going, he sits back inside the top 20. He may still have a shot at this yet before this day's over.
I have a feeling that he might just be biding his time and waiting to pull a closer move a la Kevin Harvick to show up right at the end of the race when it matters the most. Restart coming here on lap 52 of 100. It will be Josh Williams again in control. TJ Majors now the car in second to his outside. Then William Byron, Garrett Smithley, Tyler Overstreet, Steven Steffen, Anthony Alfredo, Coleman Presley, Anthony Pelican, and Alex Bowman, your top 10. And I will echo Jacob Simmons. If you haven't had the chance to go see Campaign Ray, Malik Ray, driver for Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, he is the best hype man confirmed, as iRacing's Twitter put it a few days ago.
Yes.
And some of his best clips are thoroughly entertaining and couldn't recommend them enough. If you want to see somebody who really does love sim racing top to bottom, Malik's a pretty good place to start. I know he's active on Twitch streaming, it seems like every day, as are a lot of these other big-time drivers. Big and small, you can get involved no matter which way you see fit. As Josh Williams will wait, TJ Majors comes down to the inside and tried to read the restart as best he could, but still to no avail, because all of a sudden Williams shot out of that restart zone like a cannon, and William Byron is coming with him to second.
It was an all-spotter front row, and Josh Williams got it right. William Byron will take advantage of the slip-up from the outside lane, take over third. Overstreet, or up to third, rather. Byron in second, and now they're side-by-side for fourth. Anthony Alfredo playing in the top 5 now.
Boy, Byron's going after the lead. He goes outside, inside now to outside, trying to make a run at Josh Williams. Williams throws the block down to the white line, now washes up off turn 4.
First real challenge that Josh Williams has had here under the green flag. William Byron in the 24 Chevy Camaro to his outside and one.
Great move there by Byron to put himself in the outside lane, trying to pinch Josh Williams down and hold that momentum. Williams will squirt ahead, but can't clear him. It's going to be side by side. Down the back straightaway for the first time in a long time. Here comes William Byron.
Business is picking up in turn number 3. Williams to the bottom of the racetrack, almost flips the apron. Byron to the outside. They're wheel to wheel for the lead. Byron trying to make the run off turn 4.
While these two have battled up at the front of the field, all of a sudden, Anthony Alfredo has scored TJ Majors and Steven Steffen and company, and now sits in third.
New player in third. The battle for the lead continues. Everyone getting sorted out. Josh Williams will clear himself off of turn 2. That high side not working, but Byron's committed to it. Williams blocks down low.
Byron committed to the outside. He'll try it again in the 24 degrees of banking in turn number 3. Williams holds him all the while. Anthony Alfredo inching closer and closer to this battle for the lead.
Watching the time gaps here as they come across the start-finish line. Alfredo now within 0.4 of a second as these two race side by side for the lead. He is closing, as is Steven Steffen in the 1.
Battle for the lead, battle for third as well. Steffen side by side with Alfredo. Now to the inside goes Steven Steffen, blocking all the way down to the white line, Josh Williams.
Big block thrown by Williams. Byron tries to cut underneath him. Side by side behind them. Steffen the advantage down low for third.
Battle for first, battle for third. William Byron will regroup. Now Anthony Alfredo with momentum on the top side. They're still wheel to wheel for that spot. And Tyler Overstreet will jump in there, but Alfredo will slide in line behind Steven Steffen.
Steven Steffen, great run, clears himself for that third position. Here comes Alfredo with a run out of 2. What can he do with it? No blocking there this time by. These drivers are aggressive, though, as they stay single file.
So, single filed out now among the top 5 or 6, James Pike, and I've got to imagine this is where everybody's starting to bide their time, settle down, and really gear up for hopefully a bit of a longer run here.
That's what you thought, and then Anthony Pelican, Alex Bowman, and Tyler Truex said, you know what, how about not? Side by side, 11th, 12th, 13th, and Harrison Burton in the mix too.
Alex Bowman way up high there, had to get out of the gas, loses another spot to Truex. Here comes Harrison Burton, looking for one more spot as well.
Burton to the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 3. Can't quite hook that white line, but he'll go to the inside as Bowman scrapes the wall, loses momentum, keeps it going off turn 4.
What was a 4-car battle now becomes a 3-car battle as Anthony Pelican leads this mini group with Coleman Presley in the 59.
Presley's had an up and down day, leads the field through 1 and 2, or this pack through 1 and 2. Anthony Pelican hot in pursuit, looking for a run off of 2. The rear end starting to wiggle a little bit on these cars. I like it. They're starting to get a little bit loose.
How about the rebound by Parker Kligerman, back up to the number 8 position after his problems earlier, tracking down TJ Majors in 7th, while Josh Williams still leads out front.
Of note, Kligerman used his fast repair, and Kligerman was able to come down pit road and get the one repair you have in this race where you got the ability to clean all the damage that you had. So that's how Kligerman's got a clean car after pounding the wall in the middle of 1 and 2. And one of the unique bits of sim racing and iRacing that TJ and Kevin turned on in this race, and it has allowed Kligerman to come right back to the battle and right underneath TJ Majors for 7th.
Here we go. It's in turns 3 and 4. Kligerman looking to the bottom and slamming the door is TJ Majors for 7th as they work off back into the quad oval.
They come back into the quad oval. David Shieldhouse battle coming to you as these two have been up front in this field for the entirety of the race. Go at it once again.
Bad news for the rest of the field. The Parker Kligerman's got a clean race car one more time. He's got a lot of ground to make up. He's going to have to deal with TJ Majors first. Not an easy pass to make.
Meanwhile, the battle for the lead heating up again. William Byron looking to the outside in turn number 3. He settles back in line in the 24. The 12 of Williams now drifts high. Byron looking for the lead.
Don't look now, but here comes Steven Steffen. It's the same principle we've seen all race long as the leaders go after it. As Byron looks to the inside now, and will have the inside on Josh Williams. We may have a battle for the race lead. Williams will try and carry the momentum up top to maintain P1.
Power move by Josh Williams around the high side, able to hold it and maintain that lead. Byron's looked high, he's looked low. Cannot get the job done yet.
No, he can't. Williams put it on a clinic in that number 12 car. Byron falls 3 car lengths back, and the one of Steffen now closing for 2nd.
Byron had to check up a line on the inside of 1. He could not roll the momentum coming out of turn 2 in that high line, that preferred group, and it's allowed Steven Steffen to close with it a car length of the 24.
The more these two fight, the more Steven Steffen draws in on them. He wants to see more side by side so he can throw himself into the mix. A little bit of a gap now, about 5 car lengths or so. Back to William Byron. Josh Williams strong right now.
Settling it out now, just a little bit, everybody trying to regroup. Top 5 or so run single file. It's about 4 car lengths between the top 2.
Meanwhile, there's still a great fight between Harrison Burton, Justin Haley, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Boris Cook. 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, if you include Anthony Pelican just up the road, side by side. Best battles on the racetrack of the top 20 right here.
Haley to the inside on that number 11 underneath Harrison Burton. Dale Jr. following Haley on the bottom side, working underneath Brian Boris Cook. All those positions changing hands as Haley will clear himself off of turn 2.
How about Dale Earnhardt Jr. as Harrison Burton tries to slice back to the inside of Justin Haley. Haley slams the door on him in turn 3. Jr. through the middle of the racetrack trying to go now for 13th.
Junior making things happen as Tyler Overstreet was able to clear Anthony Alfredo for the 4th spot. Really good run for the number 19 machine who looked to try and grab the one of Steven Steffen.
Fight between Dale Earnhardt Jr. Harrison Burton heating up. Jr. working that outside lane to great effect. Will make it look easy as Harrison Burton has no defense against that. Side by side behind him, Kyle Long and Brian Boris Cook.
I like the look of the 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now. He's been able to put that car wherever James Pike he's wanted. It's been good. Behind them, the 26 of Kyle Long on the move.
Kyle Long, co-owner of Mode Motorsports, trying to clear Harrison Burton. Meanwhile, Jr. is gone by about 5 or 6 car lengths. Next in line for the 88, the 11 of Justin Haley.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., don't write him off just yet. That car is coming to life as we got a big scramble. Just around that 5th position, TJ Majors holding up. Garrett Smithley and Anthony Alfredo, Parker Kligerman there as well. This little knot of cars working through 3 and 4.
Yeah, that battle's been going on for the last couple of laps, and it is continuing to go on now as Smithley and Kligerman almost make contact, James.
Everybody all over each other coming into turn 1. Oh, Smithley got moved. Smithley got moved by Kligerman, slides up the track and into Anthony Alfredo. And now Kligerman will have to regroup as Smithley maintains the spot, but nearly another yellow in the middle of 1 and 2.
Like a bull in a china shop, Parker Kligerman is coming to the front. He doesn't care how he has to get there.
Nah, Kligerman's been bullying his way back towards the front of the field over these last couple of laps, on the move and trying to make every track he can. Behind him, the 59 of Coleman Presley looking to the inside.
Coleman Presley now trying to take the spot away from Anthony Alfredo in the 21 machine. Alfredo still trying to regroup after that wild moment 1 lap ago. And Tyler Truex in the 69 also coming for the 21 down the backstretch.
This has been a great fight. These guys really sorting it out. You see the true handling characteristics of this car coming into play, Jacob, as they work through 3. Look a little bit unsettled right now.
Yeah, let's pick up Parker Kligerman. He is trying to make that 77 do some work. He is closed on Garrett Smithley. That's the battle for 6th across the line.
The redemption story of this race, the 77 of Parker Kligerman out of Burton Kligerman Sports, now right on the rear deck lid of the 51 Chevy Camaro of Garrett Smithley to get his spot back into the top 6.
I'm not sure it's going to be pace alone that helps salvage this day for Parker Kligerman. Might need a yellow flag to make up some of that track position.
Yeah, Kligerman really was closing on Smithley. Now it's back to about 3 car lengths as they work off 4. 3 car lengths more up to TJ Majors.
Really strong run for Smithley off the corner. Meanwhile, Anthony Alfredo now looking to try and get the spot back from Coleman Presley and try and take 8th away, and Tyler Truex is there as well.
Don't forget about Tyler Truex in that 69 holding down that 10th position, watching Alfredo and Coleman Presley battle. Alfredo thinks he has a little more pace, but he just can't get up to him and pass him as these tires continue to wear, slipping and sliding all around Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Battle behind them, the 26 of Kyle Long on the move for 13th on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Long washes up Jr. to the outside. Bubba Wallace in this mix as well.
Junior got loose out of turn 2 that last time by. That's what allowed Long to draw even with the 88 machine. So now Junior has a battle on his hands to try and hang on to 13th, and it looks like the rear end might be fading away from the 88.
Rear grip starting to fade a little bit for Junior as he's been working that outside lane, but I do believe he can hold on to it as he gains himself a little bit of a gap over Kyle Long going into 3.
Bubba Wallace to the inside of Kyle Long now trying to make tracks. That's the battle for the 14th position. Wallace takes it with ease as he slides up in front of Long.
No question for Bubba Wallace, who's been sitting right on the edge of the top 10 for a good chunk of this race as we had 30 laps to go in the replacements 100 at Atlanta.
Been watching this battle between Tyler Truex and Anthony Alfredo continue to rage on. Alfredo gets the job done, puts himself back into that 9th position.
Working towards turn number 3, looking up ahead a little bit, the 21 of Anthony Alfredo has been a man on the move, back up inside the top 10 in 9th. He's held Tyler Truex at bay. Truex trying to hold off the 8 of Anthony Pelican.
Truex coming down pit road for service, so here's a strategy play you might want to pay attention to. Truex looks like he's trying to split this final run of the race from the most recent caution some 20 laps ago. If we go green, watch that 69. He may be in prime position here.
That fresh rubber is certainly going to be a huge help for him as Josh Williams has grown his gap to about a second now over William Byron as all these guys have hit their stride. That 12 is just so strong.
The 88 and the 11 now going at it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Justin Haley. This battle heating up one more time. Haley holds Jr. off 4.
Junior continues to stalk Justin Haley, that position 11 and 12. Junior, we've talked about in that 88, Jacob. He's looked strong. He's used that middle to high lane. Now he holds it down low, trying to take care of those tires. As I see Anthony Pelican slipping and sliding off a 2, is going to fall into the clutches of Justin Haley.
Into turn number 3 they go. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to make tracks, but Justin Haley looking to the inside of Anthony Pelican. That's for a spot in the top 10 as they work off turn number 4. 27 laps to go when they come back across the line, and Junior's back in this mix as well.
Certainly is. We got to keep an eye on these guys with Tyler Truex pitting. You got to wonder when everyone else will take that same cue and make the call to come down to the attention of their pit crews as well, as Haley and Pelican continue to battle. Junior now with the run. He's going to look to the inside of Haley going into 3.
Oh, that was a slice. Haley got a little bit loose, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. took full advantage, painting that car around the white line. Junior looking for the 11th position from Haley.
Great move there. He's got help from behind, the push from Bubba Wallace, trying to help his friend move past the 11 of Justin Haley as they work into 1 now. Haley trapped up on the high side. Not sure that's going to be able to work for him. Pinning Junior down on that white line, though, is going to help as he gets a good run, but you see the strength of that bottom side as Junior pulls up alongside.
And Bubba Wallace has got to be sitting here going, wait, I want in this as well. He has had nowhere to go. They've had both lanes bottlenecked in front of him. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finally with the advantage coming to 25 to go. He'll slice up in front of Justin Haley and take the spot.
Anthony Pelican grabbed a piece of the wall off of 4. He's going to ship off 3 positions in the process. Now promote Junior up to the top 10. Justin Haley a little too close there, stabs the brakes, rides up the banking, but saves the race car. Bubba Wallace will move through as a result.
Closer to the front of the field, we haven't talked about the leaders in a while, and that's because, well, there's not been a lot to talk about. Josh Williams, once he shook William Byron off, has now pulled out to about 12 car lengths out in front. The lead gap almost 1 second back in turn 1.
Looking at the battle for the 4th position about to shape up here. Tyler Overstreet holds it. TJ Majors wants it. Majors, remember, started on the outside of the front row from the last restarts. We got a smoker on the apron. That's Matt Noyce. That car has given up the ghost, and he'll probably be retiring. But TJ Majors fell through the field, has popped back up into that 5th position. It seems like that number 22 is coming back to life.
And you mentioned it earlier, David, that you thought Truex might open the floodgates of people pitting, but really we have not seen that as of yet, and that's going to put Tyler Truex on a bit of an island here as we go down the stretch and potentially open this up for drivers to pit for 2 tires, or I don't say you go gas and go, but I think the guys that are running long now probably just taking 2 tires and a splash before the end.
They're really sorting out the strategy at this point. When you get down to 20 to go, that's a long way. Even if they pit with 20 to go, that's a long way to go with just right side tires. But again, if you feel like that's going to be your best bet to make up some track position, because of the pace that Josh Williams is running right now, if you're in that 4th, 5th, 6th position, it's almost worth the risk, because you know if things stay green, you're not going to catch him on pace. So you got to try something different. That might be the call, as TJ Majors will complete the pass, clear himself of Tyler Overstreet, and take over that 4th position. Nicely done.
Overstreet was not wanting to give it up nicely, though. He looked back to the inside, thought about a crossover, no dice there, and what was a 2-man fight may soon be a 4-man fight at the around the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th position. Majors has it. Overstreet, Smithley, and Kligerman now trying to run them down to challenge.
All this battling between TJ Majors and Overstreet has brought Garrett Smithley and Parker Kligerman into the fray, as well as Kligerman's march to the front continues. He can see these guys. He can get that draft down the straightaways, and that's helping pull his vehicle along. And I'm telling you, that's got to be invigorating to the driver who saw his chances possibly going up in smoke in turns 1 and 2 with that equipment failure, is now back in this fight and looking very strong.
Indeed, as we are now crossing 20 laps to go in the replacements 100, and the question everybody's asking is, when will these front runners pit? This battle continues. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. The 22 TJ Majors, 19 Overstreet, 51 Smithley, and 77 of Kligerman.
And as we approach the final 20 laps, we'll bring in our defending NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion, Zach Novak, joins us in the booth of Richmond Raceway Esports. And Zach, what have you seen so far? How crazy has this race been from our spot here in the stands?
This has been a really good race. I expected the people that are up front to be up front, considering how much they, race on the general service on iRacing. And this is really, really cool to see this many people involved in this. And I've had a blast watching it.
Zach, what does this day say for iRacing and what this service can provide for the fan base that, amid the bad situation and circumstances is looking for something to do, looking for a way to be involved with the community?
Yeah, I think this is exactly it. It allows people that, are involved with NASCAR that don't necessarily race the cars every weekend to be able to come in and participate like you see here. And, people like, Parker, who doesn't race every weekend anymore, he's coming in and showing how much skill he really has against some of the Cup regulars. And this is just really, really cool, like I said, to see this and have Podium Esports and iRacing be a part of it.
And really quickly, we know we're going to see Atlanta Motor Speedway later in the season for all of you with the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Is there anything that you can take from watching this to be able to learn for later, or is this just about having fun and being able to see a really good show?
It's a little bit of both. I think the real guys can give us a few tips just by watching them, but at the same time, I think everybody is collectively happy to, see this going on and just be able to enjoy some racing on a Sunday afternoon amid all the bad stuff that's been going on. It's like I said, a really cool thing, and really, really excited to see a good finish here.
Well, we appreciate your time as well, Zach Novak, and wish you the best of luck for the remainder of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series season.
Thank you, guys.
That's Zach Novak from Richmond Raceway Esports, the defending NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion, as we work inside of 15 laps to go in the replacements 100. Josh Williams still leads William Byron by 0.8 of a second. Steven Steffen third. TJ Majors is pulled away from Tyler Overstreet in the battle for fourth. The battle for fifth is where it's on right now. Parker Kligerman and Tyler Overstreet. James Pike, they are going at it as Kligerman tries to make some tracks here in the closing stages.
Nose to tail in turn 3 are Overstreet and Kligerman. We talked about Kligerman's wild race so far. Had an equipment malfunction, smacked the wall, uses fast repair in the middle of the race, and here he is trying to climb back into the top 5 right on the rear deck lid as the two Toyotas go into turn 1.
Been a great run for Parker Kligerman, a great recovery story. Looks like Overstreet's struggling for grip as he slides up off the exit of 2. That's going to open the door here for Parker Kligerman as well. So he's going to look to take this position as there's a slow car in front of him. No choice for Overstreet but to get out of the gas.
He used the lap car of Gary Sexton as a pick, Kligerman did. Move Kligerman now inside the top 5 once again. He's going to need a late race caution, though, if he wants to take the challenge to the front 4.
Kligerman now clear of Overstreet and in very, very good shape.
At that top 5 now, but again, it's going to be a caution that's going to be the difference if he can get back up to the front. He being Parker Kligerman, as they are so spread out in front of him, I'm not sure there's enough laps left.
We'll have to play the wait-and-see game. A 1.2-second gap up to 4th place TJ Majors. Meanwhile, Josh Williams still out in front as the 27 of Kevin Iannarelli back in the pack trying to make some tracks around 16th, side by side in turn number 3. Iannarelli passes the slower car of Chad Knaus trying to close on the 25 of John Theodore.
You've got Pelican, Iannarelli, and Theodore. Theodore, name we haven't had the chance to talk much about. Theodore, one of the co-owners of Podium Esports, along with Cisco and me, and Gary Sexton also in this race, and flying is straight out of St. Louis, Missouri, and now clears Anthony Pelican to take over 14th.
Nice move there from John Theodore to put himself up into that position. Anthony Pelican, we've talked about him struggling for grip. He did smack the wall earlier out of 4, and I think he's feeling the effects of that now as he's going to lose another position to Iannarelli.
Iannarelli really making some good tracks right now, moving back up inside the top 15. Meanwhile, James Pike, that lead continuing to grow a little bit. Josh Williams over William Byron, now almost 1 second, with coming up on 10 laps to go.
They were about dead even at the stripe last time by in terms of lap times. It was a 31.5 to 31.49. So all Williams needs to do here as we come to 10 laps to go is maintain that gap, and he will come away with a victory in the replacements 100. Can he hang on for 10 more laps?
Fastest car on the track right now is that 77 of Parker Kligerman, about a 10th faster than race leader Josh Williams. But again, he's 4.5 seconds back. That's just not going to get it done.
Williams' car looks so stable on the 3 and 4 end of the racetrack, works the middle to the bottom of the racetrack, just about paints that white line as he works back into the quad oval. 9 laps to go.
All Josh Williams at front and pretty well cleared out amongst the top 5, but Kligerman still trying to chase and trying to run down TJ Majors. That might be the next battle we need to watch on track because we know how quick that 77 is.
Absolutely, as he gets bypassed by the 69 of Tyler Truex. Remember, Truex pitted, got those fresh tires. For an idea of how much those fresh tires are worth, about a half a second per lap as Truex lapping it around a 31 flat, and everyone last time by was a 31.5 or 31.6, so about a half a second difference.
Picking up a battle in turn number 3, Dale Earnhardt Jr. continuing to make tracks. Coleman Presley was trying to run him down. Now Presley falling back a little bit. Junior's come all the way back to the top 10. He sits 8th with 8 to go.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a nice long run car, I think, and that's sort of been the way he's raced this whole way. You see some people like Kligerman who have muscled their way to the front. Junior's been a little bit more subtle, I think, along with John Theodore, who's had a similar run in this race, a little bit further back in the field in 14th. But here we are at the end of the race, and Junior snuck up into the top 10. All about Josh Williams, though, still at the front of this. Byron still sliding back ever so little. It's now up to 1.1 seconds. Meanwhile, Parker Kligerman still not able to quite gain on TJ Majors, but the battle may be in third spot. TJ Majors and Steven Steffen going nose to tail. Jacob Sealman.
Yeah, into turn number 3. Steffen has lost ground, and Majors has been painting that white line. He trying to gain it off turn number 4. They're coming to 6 to go. Steffen with the advantage by 5 car lengths.
Steffen still with the spot, but Majors coming on strong. Last time by, it was very close. It was 1/10 of a second that Majors got on Steffen, so he might be right there when they get to the checkered flag.
Running out of time to do it, but TJ Majors in that 22 is coming to life just a little bit. He can sniff the draft off Steven Steffen. We might have a battle for third before this is all said and done. And there's that 69 of Tyler Truex pushing TJ Majors. He's got those fresh tires.
5 laps to go into turn number 3. Majors, Steffen, the battle out front. Josh Williams now by 1.25 seconds with one hand from the flag stand.
It was another 10th that Williams picked up on Byron that last time by, inching away in this race. What matters most is the 12.
That's all eyes on Josh Williams. It's been a strong run. William Byron has been strong himself, but just a little bit slower, we could say at this point. A little bit of a surprise, but all Josh Williams continues to lead this field.
We asked all race long who could take the fight to William Byron, who was the preeminent favorite. Josh Williams has raised his hand all day long and said, I will do it. He has done it in that number 12 Ford Mustang. Inside of 4 laps to go, the lead is now 1.6 seconds for the driver of the number 12, James Pike. A dominant statement if there's been one all day.
As the gap between first and second grows, the gap between third and fourth shrinks once more. It's down to 0.3 of a second between Steven Steffen and TJ Majors. They may be racing on the last lap for third and fourth.
Been a great battle, and Steven Steffen probably feeling a little bit of pressure when he looks up in that rearview mirror and sees TJ Majors bearing down on him. Every lap time has been close, but Majors has been just a little bit better each time by. I don't know. It's going to be 2 laps to go here. Next time by, they may just run out of time. The lap car might help, though, a little bit as Majors gets out of turn 2 with a good run.
He may run out of time. Meanwhile, the leader is in turn number 3. Coming to 2 laps to go. Josh Williams, no challenge out back. Clear windshield ahead.
It has completely fallen off for William Byron. Lead was 1.8 seconds that last time by as they cross the stripe now. It's now up to almost 2 seconds. Josh Williams in firm command with 2 laps to go.
Byron doing everything he can to squeeze out every ounce of performance from his vehicle. Just nothing left in the reserves to do so as he watches Josh Williams drive off into the distance. It's going to be just not enough time. Too much performance, too much speed out of that number 12.
Coming to the white flag, James Pike, Josh Williams stable right on the bottom. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go when he gets to you.
All about Williams in the number 12, and that Ford Mustang takes the white flag at Atlanta and will come down the front stretch into turn 1. Clear sailing ahead, no lap traffic.
Spotter Josh has been on point all day long. No one better than him as he leads the field down the back straightaway for the final time today. He's going to have the big bragging rights if he can seal this thing off.
Bragging rights for Josh Williams, 2 seconds in hand. He's headed for home. Josh Williams on the bottom through 3 and 4, coming to the checkered flag.
Spotted one Josh Williams, spotting himself in victory lane as Josh Williams comes across the line to win the Replacements 100 at Atlanta Motor Speedway in a dominating effort from just about flag to flag over William Byron, Steven Steffen, TJ Majors, and Parker Kligerman, the top five in an incredibly strong race, top to bottom in a star-studded field. David Shieldhouse.
I'm telling you, what a performance by Josh Williams. He's got to feel really good about this today. As Jacob Sealman said, I think everyone was leaning towards William Byron as the favorite, but you know what? Josh Williams didn't listen to the noise. He went out and did what he does best, and he put on an absolute clinic here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He managed his equipment the best, and as the race went on, he only got stronger and stronger. What a drive for the spotter Josh Williams, and he'll find himself in victory lane today.
I thought Jacob Sealman, the interesting thing about Williams' run, he was up front for the majority of this race, but it was a bit of a tale of two halves. That first half, he had to maintain that lead on all those restarts and make sure that he didn't miss the shift, hit the gears correctly, don't burn out the tires on the restart cycles. And then in the second half of the race, it was all about long-run tire management, and Williams proved himself very capable on both fronts, and two very different sets of skills that don't necessarily cross over all that much.
No, you're right about that. But boy, when the chips were down, Josh Williams absolutely put it to them at the end of this one, as we'll look down the full field results this afternoon. And at the top of the scoring pylon, the 12 of Josh Williams gets the job done and goes to victory lane. William Byron comes home second, 2 seconds back. Steven Steffen third. Fourth to TJ Majors. Parker Kligerman in fifth. Tyler Overstreet is sixth. Seventh to Garrett Smithley this afternoon. The rally for Dale Earnhardt Jr. back into the top 10. He comes home eighth. Ninth to Bubba Wallace and Coleman Presley. James Pike rounds out the top 10.
Chase Briscoe finished in the 11th position this evening. Brian Boris Cook came home in 12th. 13th went to the 11 of Justin Haley, and John Theodore finished in the 14th position. 15th was iRacing's Kevin Iannarelli. Casey Heschel came home in the 16th spot. 17th is where Kyle Long, co-owner of Mode Motorsports, finished. Anthony Pelican was the last car in the lead lap in 18th. 19th, first car one lap down, was Tyler Truex, and Gary Sexton was the other car one lap down. He finished in 20th.
Anthony Alfredo comes home in the 21st position. Tim Duggar in 22nd. John Guidon in 23rd. Harrison Burton, well off the pace, 13 laps in the rears in 24th. Mike Snyder, 25th. Chad Knaus, champion crew chief, in 26th. Ben Rhodes, 27th. Matt Noyce in 28th. Justin Allgaier, a lot of damage to his vehicle. Struggles across the line, 29th. And Alex Bowman rounds out the top 30.
Final cars in the field: Taylor Gray 31st, 32nd to Jonathan Davis, 33rd Kevin Hamlin, 34th Tyler Ankrum rounds out the cars that took the green flag this afternoon. Noah Gregson never completing a full lap today, involved in carnage right at the very start, is 35th. And with that, we are going to step aside here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel, and when we return, we'll start to wrap it all up here after the conclusion of the Replacements 100. Back after this.
coming up to the line, being chased, and it goes for Brandon Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them. Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loba is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe. For all he's win here on this outside line. Neck to neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron. Drag race to the line. It's so close to goal.
I'll call this a 24 pile up. I've been good with that. I'll put me in checkered flag and victory lead.
Welcome back to the post-race show here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel for the Replacements 100 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Josh Williams has come away with the victory. And as you saw right before we came back from commercial, if you're interested in more action here on iRacing, the best of the best in eNASCAR on the sim are going to go at it this Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Round 3 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series comes to you live from Homestead Miami Speedway. The virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, of course. 9 p.m. though. iRacing's Twitch channel, iRacing's YouTube channel, and iRacing's Facebook page. All the places you can see the best of the best go into action one more time. At this point, we'll turn to some of the top finishers in today's race and get the opportunity to talk with some of the drivers who made it happen. But first and foremost, we have to turn our attention to the first man we will have a chance to speak to, Josh Williams in the number 12 machine, who now joins us in the booth. And Josh, I made a point of it right before we went to break. This race felt like a tale of two halves, because in that first half, it was all short run, short run, short run. And then you had to really learn how to manage the long run at the back half of this. So how do you sort of compare, contrast the two halves of the race from your perspective, and how did you find that speed over those final 40 laps?
Yeah, it was tough. I was more set up prepared to run the long run, so I was trying to take care of my stuff a little bit, and we never really got long runs the first half of the race, so you just had to defend pretty hard the first few laps until everybody got single file. So I was worried with having to pit and the restart and stuff. If you lose the lead, it's going to be hard to pass again. So just try to defend the lead, and once we got 10 or 15 laps on our tires, I was pretty comfortable with it.
Was it that much of a mental shift once you finally got in the long run? I get the sense you were sort of just waiting for that to come and hoping that we'd get some green flag laps, but I have to believe that it was tricky in those first 20 to 30.
It was tricky, especially with the restarts and everybody getting big drafts off turn 2. You got to really defend where you want to be. So it's tricky to survive those restarts, but then once you get a few laps on your stuff, you can kind of just settle in and start taking care of your tires, which is what I was just trying to maintain my gap the first 30 laps of that long run with William behind me, to maintain my gap, take care of my tires. And then once I knew we got 10 or 15 to go, I was pretty comfortable with it because I could run a little bit harder.
And to win this race, I think especially given the audience, given everything that's happened within the past 48 hours in the world of NASCAR, what's it mean to you to get the victory in the Replacements 100?
It's awesome, man. A lot of us sim race all the time, so it's fun to put that on here with Podium Esports and get everybody seeing what we do during the week a lot of times. So it's good for everybody, and it gives somebody some racing to watch since we're out here for a couple of weeks. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was fun for me.
It's fun for us up at the booth as well. Josh, congratulations on your victory in today's race. Thanks as always for coming to talk to us, and we look forward to seeing you in the not too distant future.
Yes, sir. Thank you for everything you guys do.
Josh Williams, driver of the number 12 and winner of the Replacements 100 here today at Atlanta. And Jacob Sealman, just an impressive run all around, an all-around comprehensive run from Josh to get the victory.
No doubt about that. That was a clinic across multiple levels, both on restarts, as you mentioned, in the first half of this race, and as well on long run speed and managing his equipment to bring it home in the second half of this race. I couldn't be more impressed with the job he did to hold William at bay and then to drive away from him down the stretch. I feel like was as big a statement as he could have made this afternoon.
So many more people to talk to, Jacob. I believe we are going to turn our attention to Steven Steffen, who is not too terribly far away and waiting for Jacob Sealman to talk to the man who finished P2 today.
A P3 finish for Steven Steffen this afternoon, one spot behind William Byron. And really, Steven, the battle for you at the end was holding off TJ Majors and, the charge there. How's it feel, though, to put this car on the podium against a field that was as star-studded as we saw this afternoon?
Yeah, it feels great. Yeah, like you said, that last run, I was concentrating really hard, keeping TJ behind me, and I got a little assist from my fellow Junior Motorsports employee, Justin Allgaier. Not intentionally, but it kind of worked out to where I was able to just kind of hold him off. So, yeah, like you said, a great field, and it was a lot of fun, and just super happy to come home P3.
Was it exciting for you guys? I know the first half was a little bit start and stop on you guys with the yellows, but to be able to settle it out and have a nice long run to really show what the cars had over the long haul towards.
Yeah, that was awesome. I just wish it was a little bit longer. I think TJ and I would have caught William. We were reeling him in. Josh was gone, but we ran out of laps there. But it was fun, and I was glad to get that long run for sure.
And one more question from you. I know we talked about this race being a big day, not just for sim racing, but really for the community at large. Do you feel like, all in all, that this was able to check the boxes? Was it as entertaining for you guys in the seats as it was for us up?
Absolutely, I had a blast, and I think it's awesome that we're able to put this event on, especially in the times we have in the world today. So that was really cool to kind of be able to still have some racing and have some real life drivers join us. That was pretty awesome. Crew chiefs and other people in the NASCAR industry, and just to make a positive out of this is pretty awesome. So I heard we had quite a few viewers, so that's really cool, and hopefully we can do it again.
Very strong day indeed. Thanks for taking some time with us. Congrats on a top 3 finish this afternoon, Steve.
Thank you.
That's Steven Steffen, tonight's third place finisher, James Pike, and a very strong run, all things considered.
A very strong run, all things considered. And we now turn to the driver who finished in the 4th position, TJ Majors, who was the other man besides Kevin Hamlin, who helped to co-organize this event. And TJ gets to talk to his longtime friend, David Shieldhouse, here in the booth.
Thanks, James. TJ, 4th place finish for you today in this race. You were embroiled in some fantastic battles throughout the entirety of this afternoon. We'll get to those battles in a moment, but I want to talk big picture. This event, a huge success, I think, from all measurable standings. What's your takeaway? How are you feeling right now with how this event went today?
I thought the race was good once we got rolling. It all kind of came together Friday when we were home. I got a message. I got to thank Brian Cook had the same idea as I did, Boris at JGR, and then Kevin Hamlin put a lot of work into this as well. So we started making some phone calls and got a hold of you guys and started adding drivers to the list. So a lot of fun, man. It's unfortunate circumstances that we're all home today, but we're just trying to make the most of it and give people something to do and watch and have some fun.
I think that's very well said. We're all feeling that entirely. And when you look at an event like this, obviously the names make this a very special event within the iRacing and sim racing community. But when you see an event like this come together and the reception that it got with all the people watching today on Twitch, what do you think that says about the possibilities and the potential for sim racing to grow from today?
I think it's great, I got to thank Steve Myers for letting it go on as well, and they got some big events coming up as well. So hopefully it's a little feeder into what they got coming. People tune in and check that stuff out. But it's great for sim racing. It shows you, how popular it really is, and to get the names that we had in there today, to get on there and have some fun and put on a show. Sometimes a little too exciting, but it was fun.
And now we'll talk about the racing itself. Again, a fourth-place finish for you. You had a lot of great battles. You were closing in on Steven there at the end. Parker Klickerman had some equipment issues earlier in this race, but he made a great recovery. What was it going to take for you to get back up there and fight with those guys? Another caution, or pretty much did you have exactly what you had at that point?
Well, I was sitting in a pretty good spot, and then Parker's controller disconnected or something, and that was scary. But I got a really bad late race restart. I tried to get Josh to go, and he didn't go, and then I got a bad restart and lost a bunch of spots and couldn't make it up. I feel like I could have run with William a little bit. Josh runs about 400 races a week, so I knew he'd be really strong. But I think we're still waiting for the top 3 to get through tech, so I might be able to walk out of here with a victory still.
You never know in the room of doom what can happen, and of course I would be remiss not to ask, now that you've lost to Josh, what do you think you're going to hear from him and the rest of everyone that works there? A little bit of bragging rights goes to him now.
Oh yeah, if Josh runs so many races a week, I'm gonna wait till he has kids one day, and then we're gonna see who's faster than who. So, but Josh is really good. He knows the ins and outs of these cars. I wasn't even going to attempt to race with him and William there in the beginning. I was going to hopefully they wreck each other or burn their stuff up, which I think I was probably the second or third fastest car there at the end. Josh was still quick, but he had the clean air. So I don't know. I mean, Josh is really good. So I feel like being in the same straightaway as him and William, pretty good. Success for me.
I think your success is everybody's success today. A great event. Again, a huge thank you to you and Kevin Hamlin for putting this together. Y'all should be very proud of what you accomplished today.
Yeah, I mean, for how quick it came together and how many texts and phone calls we had to do, I think this is just bigger things from here. So thank you guys for putting it on, and again, all the people that watched and all the competitors, all these guys that took Sunday and raced with us.
Absolutely. That's TJ Majors, your fourth-place finisher here today. A great run for him, a great event overall, James Pike. And my gosh, we have so much to cover. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, we still have more drivers to talk to as well.
I just lost audio on the broadcast.
No, he didn't. He just got all the audio on the broadcast. Garrett Smithley comes in as we totally tripped him up and threw him a loop. But Garrett Smithley now joins us up here in the booth. And Garrett, you came home with a strong run today, finishing the 7th spot after starting 14th. And it was a point that we made in the broadcast that you just sort of kept on sneaking up through this field. Not necessarily the most aggressive of drivers. You saw a few folks really try and muscle their way up, but you just sort of picked your battles and found your way up through the field. How did you climb your way up into a top 10 finish?
Yeah, I honestly didn't really know what to expect. There was a lot of good iRacers in that race, and I was glad that we ran the setup that we ran as opposed to the fixed setup, because I was not good at the A-class fixed setup this week. Just a little too tight for me, but no, it was a lot of fun. My plan really from the beginning was just to save tires and just kind of bide our time, stay out of trouble. Was a little bit disappointed with the qualifying effort. I think looking back at it, I would have done things a little bit differently, but still a decent starting spot, 14th. And from there, just kind of missed the wrecks, and pit crew did a really good job. We gained several spots on pit road and then just kind of maintained where we were at. I think the last restart, I was behind TJ, and I think his plan was to drop back a little bit more than I wanted to, and I think I burned my tires off doing that. But all in all, I was really happy with 7th place, especially with that crowd. I love iRacing. I don't really get a chance to do it as much as I'd like to, and with this new tire model, I really haven't gotten a good handle on it. So I was pretty happy with how we ended up.
Solid finish, and I think you touched on it a little bit. Just to get a finish like that in an event like this, which is so much bigger than just iRacing, than just sim racing, to be a part of something like this, what's it mean to you?
Oh, it's super cool. Obviously, we all want to be at the racetrack right now. I was out there doing laps and doing practice, and we were I was coordinating with my spotter, my iRacing spotter, Jason Loafing, and he was helping me out doing some different lines. And we drove out onto to pit road and stopped to do a mock qualifying run. And I was like, man, I really want to be at the racetrack right now, because we all do. But we made the best of it. And unfortunate circumstances, I think we made lemons out of lemonade with this deal. And just super thankful for everybody that was involved, Podium and iRacing. I know TJ and Dale and a lot of those guys, kind of pulled together to make it happen. I actually sent an email on Saturday when I found out that our race was going to get canceled. I sent something to iRacing and said, hey, if you guys are planning on doing something, I'll be one of the first to say, whatever you guys do, I want to be involved. I want to help out as much as I can. I had my own stream going on Twitch, at Garrett Smithley on Twitch, and then I was also telling everybody to go to Podium and watching the broadcast, and really happy to see there's 84,000 viewers or whatever, 22,000, 23,000 during the broadcast, and just really, really cool to see iRacing and see the esports world do what it's doing. I tried to do this a long time ago with ASCORS with one of my first sponsors, and I think we were just a little bit too early. But I'm really, really glad to see where it's gone, especially with the Coca-Cola iRacing series, and now with all the integration with some of the drivers and NASCAR. It's really cool to see and cool to be a part of this event.
Well, Garrett, thanks so much for coming on the broadcast this afternoon. Congratulations on your top 10, and how much we might see you a little bit more this week all over the sim. It's going to be a busy time on the iRacing server farm, but we look forward to seeing you on the track.
Yeah, still going to be busy. Still, grinding on sponsorship as always, but I'm definitely going to do a whole lot of iRacing. Thank you, guys.
Garrett Smithley comes home with a top 10 finish and takes the 7th spot here in the replacement 100 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And at this time, we'll turn it over to our producer, Cisco Scaramuccia of iRacing, to give us his thoughts on this afternoon's proceedings.
There we go. It's a bit more of a hassle over here when you're running the stream. Thank you, James. But I just want to say to everyone out there, especially everyone who joined us for the race, who helped out in chat, there were a lot of people who made this happen. So I think first and foremost, I think from us here at iRacing, definitely, and especially from us at Podium Esports as well, this has been an adventure, to say the least. So I just want to thank every single person who came in and watched. We know this is not, we're not your network guys, and this is an esport and it's not real life. But the fact that we got 23,000 freaking people to watch the end of this race, to me, stands a testament of what we hope to build on and do more and more with here. But ultimately, I told everybody here who worked the event today before we started, and I said, this is something to where we're trying to help you guys get through this and help everyone just, have a little bit more fun of a Sunday. So on behalf of Podium Esports, on behalf of iRacing, on behalf of TJ and Kevin for putting this on, we just want to say thank you for letting us come into your lives this Sunday afternoon and hang out with us.
David Shieldhouse, we'll turn to you next and let you take your final thoughts as we enter the Shieldhouse of final thoughts once again. Been a little while since we've done that.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Cisco. And thank you, Jacob. Everyone involved with this production today. What a pleasure. What an honor it was to be associated with this event as we brought the worlds of sim racing and NASCAR on the real side of things together for this event, the Replacements 100, in a time where we're all experiencing this together, missing real racing and real sports on TV. But to bring everyone together for the greater good and forget about things for a while and just have some fun. That's the beauty. That is the power of sim racing in this great community that we're all a part of. I've been sim racing for a very long time. I don't want to date myself too much on this broadcast, but I've seen it come a long way. I've seen it grow in ways that I never thought was possible. And for an event like this to go off the way that it did with the names that we had involved, we're all better for it. And I appreciate everyone who came out to support it. And of course, everyone who came to participate in it as well. A great event, a very memorable moment, one that I will not lose sight of for some time to come. And again, to be a part of it means a whole heck of a lot. Congratulations to the winner, Josh Williams. And honestly, congratulations to everybody who brought this amazing event together today.
I'll take a moment to hit the official bits and pieces before I provide my own final thoughts, because we never did actually answer the Chuck to Duck trivia question, David. And I think we owe the people an answer to the question we asked, which was, who holds the record for the closest margin of victory in a NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway? The answer, Kevin Harvick. 6/1000ths of a second in the spring race, March 11th, 2001. The epic Harvick by inches call. It's where it originated some 20 years ago. And if you liked what you saw today here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel, don't forget, plenty of more action coming up this week. It continues on Tuesday night with round 3 of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series from Homestead Miami Speedway this Tuesday night, March 17th, 9 p.m. Eastern on the iRacing Twitch channel, the iRacing YouTube channel, and the iRacing Facebook page. Then we're back here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel on Wednesday night for the Esports Racing League Premier Series. Anthony Alfredo's league. We talked to him earlier on the broadcast. They too head to Homestead, Miami. And that race will go live at 7:40 p.m. Eastern this Wednesday night, March 19th, right here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel, before we get the Cars Esport Tour to back that up directly. The official competition of the Real Life Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour heads to Richmond Raceway at 9 p.m. Eastern Wednesday night. And the winners of both the late model stock and the super late model races will win free tickets to the spring race weekend at Richmond Raceway coming up that third weekend of April. More information on how to sign up for that at podiumesports.com. Then Thursday nights, we have a special race from Ryan Vargas. More details to come over the next few days, but you want to tune into the Podium Esports Twitch channel at 7:30 p.m. Eastern this Thursday night, March 18th, before Friday night. We're at it with PCA Sim Racing. The Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series heads to Virginia International Raceway for round 3 of Series 4. That will take the green flag at 8 p.m. Eastern on the iRacing Esports Network on YouTube. As for my final thoughts, I suppose it's a long way that we've come, and a long way that I think I've come since I hopped on the sim for the first time in 1998. It's my kindergarten pastime. I'd come home and play NASCAR racing too, and was so short that the wheels and the pedal barely even reached. So I had to place my pedals on top of a milk carton in order to actually stand on the gas. And you could say we've come a long way since when, and you could say that today's a very big day. This is a generational type of event and moment where I think the impact for sim racing could well be as large as the 1979 Daytona 500 was for real life racing. And to the community, to everybody involved, not just in iRacing, not just in sim racing, not just at Podium, but the entire motorsports community that tuned in and watched today, a tremendous thank you to all of you as we have tried our best to bring a bit of a silver lining to an unfortunate situation. It's been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to bring this to you all. We hope that you settle in over the next few weeks, because I have a hunch we're going to be seeing a lot more sim racing across your screens of computers and TVs and wherever you choose to watch this. And just make sure you don't forget about us, because we'll have a lot of entertainment to bring to you over the next few days. For the final word of tonight's broadcast, we turn to Lincolnton, North Carolina's Jacob Sealman one more time.
Thank you, James Pike, and I'm first going to echo everybody and say thank you to not only everyone who tuned in, but to Kevin and TJ and everybody that helped organize this deal, and everybody at Podium Esports that put this together. What a day it was. Congratulations to Josh Williams on the victory. And I think what we ended up with, not just a great entertainment and a great way to get our minds off of what's going on in the world right now, but a great show nevertheless. A tremendous race all throughout the field, put on by some of the best in the business. And that's something that myself as a race fan, and I think everybody else involved with this and everybody watching in their homes can all appreciate and agree on at the end of this day. But certainly it's one of those where we've seen so many times in the past what this industry can do when we all come together. Not just in pursuit of a common goal, but just in pursuit of really having fun and coming together as one racing industry. And I think that was on full display this afternoon. So certainly a special day. James, like you said, I agree. I believe we will see much more of this in the days and weeks to come until we can get back to what we all love best, and that is getting back to the real-life racetracks and being able to pick this sport up where we've left it here in light of everything that's gone on. But with all that said, it is now time to draw a close on this broadcast of the Replacements 100 here on the Podium Esports Twitch channel. So, for Gary Sexton and John Theodore, for our producer, Cisco Scaramuza, and for my broadcast partners up here in the booth, David Shieldhouse and James Pike, I'm Speed Sports Jacob Sealman. Thank you so much for watching this afternoon's broadcast of the Replacements 100, and we hope to see you back here Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for iRacing's broadcast of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series from Homestead Miami Speedway on all of iRacing's digital platforms. Until then, keep it off the wall, and we hope to see you soon, folks. Till we meet again.